Good evening. We are bringing you commentary of West Ham United versus Chelsea today from the Premier League. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon, and I am joined by two commentators today, which are Jack Cunningham and Matt Iles for this game this evening. And you're listening to Football Commentary Live. Before we get into the game today and look at the team news, we're going to go through some of the scores from the matches today, and then the three of us are going to touch on what's been the debacle of the European Super League. But first, some results. Premier League. Liverpool 1, Newcastle United 1. West Ham versus Chelsea is an evening kick-off at 5:30. Sheffield United beat Brighton is an evening kick-off at 8 o'clock. We are covering the West Ham versus Chelsea game today. In the Championship, AFC Bournemouth 0, Brentford 1. Barnsley 1, Rotherham United 0. Blackburn Rovers 5, Huddersfield Town 2. Cardiff City 2, Wycombe Wanderers 1. Coventry City 0, Preston North End 1. Derby County 1, Birmingham City 2. Middlesbrough 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Nottingham Forest 1, Stoke City 1. QPR 1, Norwich City 3. Watford 1, Millwall 0, and congratulations to Watford. They have been promoted to the Premier League. In League 1, Portsmouth 1, Bristol Rovers 0. That result sees Bristol Rovers relegated to League 2. Blackpool 0, Shrewsbury Town 1. Charlton Athletic 0, Peterborough 1. Crewe Alexandra 1, Rochdale 1. Doncaster Rovers 0, Fleetwood Town 1. Gillingham 2, Northampton 2. Ipswich Town 0, AFC Wimbledon 0. Lincoln City 1, Hull City 2. Hull City promoted to the Championship. MK Dons 5, Swindon 0, and I believe that Swindon Town are now relegated to League 2. I will confirm at half-time of our live coverage today. Oxford United 3, Plymouth Argyle 1. Sunderland 3, Accrington Stanley 3. Wigan Athletic 1, Burton Albion 1. League 2, Cambridge United 0, Stevenage 1. Carlisle United 1, Harrogate Town 1. Cheltenham Town 1, Colchester 0. Crawley Town 0, Forest Green Rovers 0. Exeter City 0, Newport County 0. Morecambe 0, Bolton Wanderers 1. Oldham Athletic 1, Grimsby Town 2. Port Vale 2, Bradford City 1. Salford City 2, Mansfield Town 0. Scunthorpe 0, Walsall 2. Southend 2, Leyton Orient 1. And Tranmere Rovers 1, Barrow 0. We'll go through the National League scores and rest of the scores from today's matches at half-time in our chosen game, as we're now going to touch on the European Super League. But to do that, I'm going to invite two of our commentators to the scene. We've got Jack Cunningham, who is the lead commentator for this game this evening. And how are you doing, Jack? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, Russ. How are you?
All good, mate. Thank you. And a very good evening as well to Matt Iles as well this evening, our co-commentator today. So, Matt, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm not too bad, Russ. How are you?
All good, mate. Thank you very much. And now we're going to touch on the European Super League. As probably some of you may have seen, myself and Mike from Football Commentary, like Mike Ornament, along with a couple of few friends of ours, Wayne Schumann, we had Corey from West Ham. We're going to check them out after this broadcast as well, or if you want to watch a fan's reaction during this broadcast, to the game for West Ham fans' reaction, go and check them out as well for the match. Also, we had Ross, another West Ham fan, on the channel as well. And just before we get into the Super League, I just want to give a big shout out to the people over at Talk Norwich City. They're doing a 24-hour live stream from 10 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock tomorrow to raise money for their chosen charity, which is Norfolk's Cancer Charity in Norfolk. So big shout out to you. When I was over there just before 3 o'clock this afternoon, the race around going up towards £6,000. So anything you can donate go across there. The links to how to donate are on Tornado City on Twitter if you want to go and check them out a little bit later on. And they're on till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so you can check them out after this stream is finished. But to the main point we've come on a bit earlier for today is the European Super League as well. And before we do that, European Super League, and I did a chat, like I said, with a few people, including Mike, on Monday evening after the Leeds Liverpool game had finished, and Jack and Matt were unavailable to do that then. So I give my thoughts then, and we'll come to the summariser first today, Matt Housen. Matt, what's your thoughts on the European Super League, which is now looks like it's going to be no English clubs in that, but Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, and Juve said they're going to stick in with that. But what's your thoughts on the European Super League altogether, mate?
Well, I think, like every football fan and sort of every person within football, the majority, it was a really preposterous and absolutely disgraceful idea. It was all in the name of greed. You know, you look from the 6 English clubs' point of view, it was selfish. It was sort of, done by owners of the club that really don't have any real sort of heart toward football. All they think about is making money and obviously think about the business side of things. And of course, it would generate them more money. Everybody in life and in football wants more money. Of course they do. But you've got to look at the essence of the beautiful game, which was really called into disrepute this week. I mean, you look at the English game itself. I mean, the Premier League filters money down to the EFL and to the National League. And of course, with these 6 clubs who are kind of, let's say, not solely responsible for big broadcasting deals from the Premier League, but they do play a massive part in it. And I think, obviously, for them to just turn their back and to try and disrupt sort of over 150 years of football being sort of built in this country just to be selfish in the name of money is absolutely disgusting, if you ask me. And obviously, they very, very quickly pulled out of it. Very, very good that the fans decided to club together. Of all these clubs, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester United really sort of vented their frustration. So, it was an absolutely scandalous idea, and it was all in the name of greed. And I think just the timing of it as well was just so wrong for me.
Yes, as Matt just said there, Jack, is all about greed, all about money from these owners. Because I saw earlier on in the week as well, the reason why all these 12 clubs, which are now down to the 4 clubs after not only the 6 English clubs pulled out, but the other clubs had pulled out of. Some other clubs have pulled out as well, all in quite a lot of debt. And I was speaking off air as well. In Leeds last Monday, there was protests at Ellen Road with Liverpool arriving there after announcement on Sunday night and during the day on Monday leading up to the match. There was chants of scum and booze as the Liverpool squad arrived there, and the Liverpool owners, a couple of Liverpool owners arrived at Ellen Road as well. Victor Orta, Angus Kinnear, as they arrived, were taking photos and videos of everyone at Ellen Road Monday night protesting against that. Leeds put this ban up on the pitch at Ellen Road, in the stand at Ellen Road, and the wall in the stands, the shirts, earn it on the pitch on the front with the Champions League logo, and on the back, football is for the fans. And I put up earlier the banner from the Supporters Trust from Leeds United, which says no to the Super League, and quite a lot of people got down there. There were Burnley fans, Liverpool fans, Aston Villa, West Ham, West Brom, all got together at Ellen Road on Monday night and other places as well. And Jack, what's your thoughts on this Super League, mate?
Yeah, it was a abhorrent idea. I mean, the fact it was come up with people who have no interest in football, they called match-going fans who spend thousands and thousands of pounds on season tickets, on traveling around the world, and they called them legacy fans, and they said that this was going to be for the fans of the future. They did not care at all about any single football fan. It was about making as much money as possible It was absolutely disgusting. And the worst thing about it is it's not actually over because Perez, I know he obviously came out and said a load of nonsense, but he said that they've signed legally binding contracts, so it's just postponed for now. So what has to happen now, as Gary Neville said, is a huge change in football has to happen now. We need to see maybe the 50+1 rule come in, certainly an independent regulator. The Premier League are apparently coming up with an idea whereby if these clubs do sign up for the league, they'll be automatically expelled from the Premier League as a deterrent. But these clubs and these owners have been allowed to get away with it for so much. They've already got the biggest share of the pot, but they wanted to literally turn English and European football into a franchise closed shop league. And let's be fair, it was the American owners who were behind it mainly, the Glazers, FSG. I can't imagine how disgusted Liverpool fans are with the likes of FSG. The Man United fans have been against the Glazers for a while. But FSG, Liverpool's this club built around the city, built on the workers' rights, workers' feelings, the 96 of Hillsborough. That was all just forgotten about and totally ignored and completely disregarded in a way to get more money and seal this horrendous franchise league that would have become so boring and so just diluted what football's about. The likes of Leicester City, West Ham this season, none of that. Absolutely none of that. It is disgraceful, but change has to happen now. They can't just be allowed to go back to the status quo. They've made their play. It seems like the Premier League have lost trust in them, so you're going to see a lot of... I mean, I think you're going to see more than the likes of Ed Woodward go, and I won't be surprised if other people from these clubs are got rid of as sort of blood sacrifices, as it were. But we need to see a major change in English football now, the way it's governed, the way we have these owners, because this was, let's be fair, this was an attack on the game.
It was indeed, Jack. It was indeed, and there's been a backlash as well from not just like I've been mentioning Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool fans as well at Anfield. There were massive protests. I was speaking to someone said last night on the podcast that Mike did over on his YouTube channel. Go and check that out. Just search for Mike Ornament on YouTube and you'll be able to find that. Or just look for the Arsenal Everton review because you put in with all that. There was a fan of Arsenal fan who came on last night and it was down at the Emirates last night when Arsenal fans were protesting against Stan Kroenke, and there was, he said there were around about 10, between 10 and 15,000 down at the Emirates last night trying to get Kroenke out, and he got down there for about 5 o'clock. There were a few people there last night at 5 o'clock, and he left. I think he said about 9 o'clock, and there were still people turning up. They were still chanting to 9 o'clock last night. He could hear it on the commentary. You could hear it on the footage on TV, which I was watching. You could hear him outside. There were flares going off, fireworks going off in protest against Stan Kroenke, and a lot of Arsenal fans aren't happy with that situation. I said as a Leeds fan, with this happening when news came out before they all broke away, this was. I'm a Leeds fan, as majority of people here on Football Commentary Live do know, and Leeds have waited 16 years to get back to the Premier League and to play the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, and Arsenal and Chelsea, the Big Six, or so-called Big Six, because Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham can't even make the top six in the Premier League at the moment. And Leeds have waited 16 years to get back into the Premier League, and then on Monday night it felt like we just got back into going into the Premier League 16 years away, and then can't go this season to see them play because it was all about starting next summer after the Euros, like next season in August, this European Super League, which is now looks like it's going to be abandoned on the head apart from the four clubs which I mentioned earlier on. Then Leeds fans who have not been in the Premier League this season waited 16 years, and then we're going to see the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea at Ellen Road next season, but with it being postponed or kicked into touch for the time being anyway, we'll be able to see those matches next year. And I'll come back to you again, Martin. You just mentioned about Leeds being under the Premier League 16 years, back in the Premier League, playing these big clubs this time around, all the greedy sixes, some people like to call them. And then probably, if it did start in August, we won't get to see them. How do you feel if you were? How do you think the Leeds fans would have felt you there? Just what I thought there, where thought we're never going to see him again, and if looks like we will be seeing him now. But just before we go to the game, because I know Chelsea just coming out and getting ready for kick-off in the game between West Ham and Chelsea, which will not stay on this for much longer. But what would you think if you was a Leeds fan? What would you be feeling on Monday night when back in the Premier League after 16 years, and then that happened on Monday night? What would you be thinking if you was a Leeds fan?
Well, obviously, I mean, you'd be disgusted, of course. I mean, any side that comes up from the Championship, no matter how big you are, you're always dreaming of playing the bigger teams. And in Leeds' case, when you're in rivalries with the likes of, Manchester United and Chelsea in particular, and it kind of goes the same for every club, doesn't it? Every side in the Premier League, there is always just that little bit more edge, of playing those big six and wanting to beat them. And it's just pure selfishness, isn't it? I mean, as a lot of other people have just sort of said about, and it was just how they just tried to be very, very arrogant about the whole thing, the Big Six.
It is indeed, and we're going to turn attention away from the European Super League and focus on the matters on the pitch and in the Premier League. We've got a game to cover this evening, so I'm going to hand over to our match commentators for the first half. We've got Matt Iles, and your match commentator for West Ham against Chelsea is Jack Cunningham.
Well, thanks for us. That was a very interesting conversation, wasn't it? And, well, ironically, Chelsea now in this game to compete for the Champions League, what they so desperately wanted to kill. So, anyway, and West Ham, meanwhile, are really right in the race for the top four. It's 5th against 4th. It's West Ham against Chelsea. And it should be a cracking game because West Ham's games recently been very, very entertaining. So, the team lineups, West Ham have made 2 changes from that 3-2 defeat to Newcastle United. One in force with Craig Dawson being replaced by Fabian Balbuena and Ryan Fredericks coming in for Ben Johnson. So West Ham line up in goal, Lukasz Fabianski, Vladimir Soufal, Issa Diop, Fabian Balbuena, Angelo Egbona, Ryan Fredericks, Mark Noble, Thomas Soucek, Pablo Fornals, Jesse Lingard, and Jared Bowen. And for Chelsea, well, they had some protests to deal with on Tuesday night, I believe, when they played Brighton. And in the end, they came out of it with a 0-0 draw. And Tuchel has rang the changes. He's made 6. So Edouard Mendy comes in, Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, Cesar Azpilicueta, N'Golo Kante, Timo Werner, and they are all replacing Kepa Arrizabalaga, Kurt Zouma, Reece James, Marcus Alonso, Kai Havertz, and Hakim Ziyech. So Chelsea's lineup in full is Edouard Mendy, Andres Christensen, Thiago Silva, Antonio Rudiger, Cesar Azpilicueta, Ben Chilwell, Jorginho, N'Golo Kante, Mason Mount, Timo Werner, and Christian Pulisic. So, Matt, what do you make of the teams? Tuchel not messing around now. 6 changes. Obviously, wasn't happy with what he saw at Stamford Bridge in midweek.
No, you're absolutely right, Jack. Hi, everybody. Good evening if you're listening along to Football Commentary Live. He obviously moaned about how his players were tired. I mean, they played Manchester City last weekend in the FA Cup semi-final, and you could just tell it almost really took it out the players. It was a real slog at the end, wasn't it? Just trying to, keep the door firmly shut on Manchester City, which they did so successfully. And, seeing the game on Tuesday, they looked really leggy, looked really sluggish. And obviously, we know Tuchel's not afraid to ring the changes. And I was a bit surprised Tuesday that he didn't maybe make as many as he did, but obviously, seeing that his players were tired and really could have probably lost it at the end, it's not a surprise to see the change be made today.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a huge game as well coming up, Real Madrid in midweek in the Champions League. So it's coming to the business end of the season, and Tuchel has, well, turned what could have been a very, very average season into potentially an extremely successful one with, potentially 2 trophies and a top 4 finish. So we'll have to see how it goes. But we are underway here, and it's Chelsea kicking us from right to left. West Ham with the second best home form in the Premier League, facing against Chelsea, who have the 5th best away form. Chelsea's defence has been absolutely incredible since Tuchel came in, apart from that freak 5-2 defeat to West Brom. They've conceded 3 goals in the 13 Premier League games so far, which I mean is just, he's just transformed that defence, because under Lampard, well, especially last season and this season, Chelsea's defending was below par, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was times under Lampard where they were far too open. I mean, they were very on the front foot, and it's very obvious to see with the attacking quality they had. And Lampard favoured that department, didn't he? And there'd be times if they had lost the ball defensively, whoever the combination was, it was usually sort of Thiago Silva and Kurt Zuma. They would often get found out with the fullbacks pushing so high. But obviously now he's got that extra protection with that third centre back, whoever it is, and Rudiger, Christensen, Zuma or Thiago Silva. It's just really complemented each other, really benefited them, and Tuchel's kind of got them together and really made good of the defence that he has at his disposal.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot of Chelsea players who were cast aside by Lampard and they've come back. Rudiger, for example, didn't play much earlier in the season. He's played, I think it's now 10 of the 13 Premier League games so far. This is Thiago Silva, the long diagonal, seeking out the run of Azpilicueta. Comes to Timo Werner. He now finds Cesar Azpilicueta back into Werner on that right-hand side. Back into the Spaniard. He finds N'Golo Conte. Conte with a bit of a loose touch there, but in the end, he's going to win a throw-in for a sign. And we're about just under 2 minutes in here. It's obviously still West Ham 0, Chelsea 0. But West Ham have been very, very exciting to watch defensively all over the place. Werner with a flick on here. Fabianski comes out and grabs it ahead of the blue shirt running in. But yeah, West Ham defensively been, poor in recent weeks. I mean, last week against Newcastle, pretty much all of the goals were avoidable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was very unlike West Ham last week, wasn't it? I mean, they usually really do pride themselves on the fact that they have a strong defence. But in recent weeks, not just Newcastle, I think that you are starting to maybe see that teams can pick holes in this West Ham defence. I mean, Arsenal scored 3 against them. Leicester hit them twice at the London Stadium a few weeks back and obviously nearly got an equaliser at the end if Ian Atcher had scored that header. So there are some teams starting to find faults with them. But obviously, in particular, today, when you look at this Chelsea team, you've got Mount, Pulisic and Werner, and it's 2 players in Pulisic and Werner, so fast, so quick, love to play and get in behind and play off the shoulder of the defence. And you've got Balbuena, you've got Diop, and you have also got Ogbonna in there. It doesn't probably lacks the pace that you'd probably want to match with the likes of Werner and Pulisic. So very interesting to see how they play. And of course, they've got to close, first of all, the midfield down of Chelsea, because as we know, Jorginho and Conte can really pick out a pass as well as the defenders.
Thiago Silva with another long diagonal up towards Mason Mount. It's going to come to Azpilicueta. He finds the excellent Mason Mount, who's looking to get the ball in the box. Whips it into Werner, who has the first effort at goal. And, that was a shot of a man who scored 1 in his last 22 because he snatched at it. He took actually a decent opportunity. He's totally free, about 14 yards from goal, and he just hooks it well over the bar in the end. And Werner has it's just been a real struggle for him, hasn't it? His first season in England. Certainly goal scoring. I think he deserves credit for the assists and his running off the ball, but his goal scoring, I mean, he got 28 goals last season in the Bundesliga alone. He has 5 this season in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's certainly been a real struggle for him. I think, obviously, of course, he's not wearing the number 9 for Chelsea, but it does seem to be quite a cursed position, doesn't it? He was brought in to almost play down the middle. For me, I don't think he actually is a centre forward. When you've seen him at Leipzig last year, he was so much better coming in from that left-hand side where he could almost just come into the middle. He is a player that I think, you can see why Chelsea bought him. I think he is, bit by bit sort of just getting better in the Premier League, but his pace, his speed does frighten defences. So there is often that case that you can make the argument for him. Of course, his goal scoring, as you rightly pointed out, hasn't been great, but his linking up with the team has been excellent just as much.
Pulisic finds Werner, and Werner now back into Ben Chilwell, who's another summer signing from Leicester City last summer, and Chelsea regather the ball. West Ham have barely had a sniff so far, but they probably won't mind that with the likes. Lovely turn by Mason Mount, finds Azpilicueta on the overlap. He sends the ball into the box, and Ogbonna gets there ahead of Pulisic, but already on the right-hand side, Chelsea looking dangerous. This is now Jesse Lingard. Needs some help, Lingard. Plays it back into Issa Diop, who thumps it down the line, headed away by the incredibly experienced Thiago Silva. Takes him a loose touch there, Silva. And now it is Jared Bowen. Bowen waiting for the West Ham shirt to come up with him. Soufal's made a good run, and Bowen's managed to continue going. He's still got Soufal with him. Plays it back into the Czech Republic International, and West Ham regroup all the way back with Mark Noble. Noble into Soufal on this near side, the right-hand side, as we look at it. Plays it off Jorginho, and we decided to throw him. That was a good forward, not exactly a natural centre-forward, Jared Bowen, but that was some good holding up the ball, relieving his team of some pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, with Mikel Antonio getting injured, it has kind of meant that one of the three of, Fornals, Lingard and Bowen has almost just kind of been handpicked by David Moyes just to be that sort of target man, if you like, that sort of Antonio brings to West Ham. Of course, they are three very different players, and Bowen's obviously the man who's playing down the middle, it looks, of the three, and he's almost taken some of the roles on that Antonio sort of was bringing to this West Ham team. We know about his pace. We know how much he, very much likes to get assists and can get goals, but obviously in the early sort of nearly 6.5 minutes of this game, you are sort of maybe seeing a different side to Bowen today, and will be crucial as the game goes on, because this is a Chelsea side, as you know, that if he's playing down the middle, he's going to be up against Thiago Silva, who does sort of embrace the physical battle. It's just a case of whether he can just get Fornals or somebody just trying to turn in behind the Chelsea centre-back, who's obviously, as you said, very, very experienced.
Chilwell trying to flick it down the line, intercepted here by Balbuena, who loses the height of the field, and now this is Werner. Werner skips by one man. He's got two blue shirts on the right with him, and he finds Mason Mount, one of them. Carrying the ball is Mount into Cesar Azpilicueta, who's playing a right wing-back role today. He's usually been playing as a right centre-back under Tuchel, but maybe Tuchel wanting that more solid right-hand side. Ball over towards Chilwell. Chilwell is offside. Did look like he was, to be fair. He was looking across the line, but couldn't keep himself onside on that occasion. And we're 7.5 minutes in. Here it is. West Ham United 0, Chelsea 0. Just that one chance so far through Timo Werner.
Yeah, I think early observations, Jack, in this one, obviously, you can see that both sides are matching up against each other. I mean, obviously, West Ham played this system last week against Newcastle, and they sort of found themselves 2 down in the first half. They know that it's going to be crucial, that they've got to keep the front three of Chelsea quiet, because as we know, they often like to roam around, don't they? You've seen Mount occupy a position very much close to the right-hand side. You've seen Werner sort of, play all over right and left. And obviously Pulisic is almost gone out to the left and gone into the middle. So it's going to be important for those West Ham players that they can just, keep concentrating and just try and stifle this Chelsea attack as much as possible.
Yeah, and West Ham are not going to help themselves by giving the ball away half the field like they just did. But now they've won the ball half the field. It's Jared Bowen. He's got Lingard with him. He's got Fornals with him. Bowen finds Lingard. Lingard, can he work the space for a shot? Conte's held him up. He's found her. Thomas Soucek, and he is offside. Jesse Lingard. The attack did sort of fizzle out, but in the end, it doesn't matter. Flag comes up. But that's what West Ham can do. Hit them on the break. A good tackle by Soucek. Had Bowen away. Bowen released his pass too late.
Yeah, he does. I think in his mind, he doesn't really know what to do. He kind of isn't sure. And then when he does pick the option to play it to Lingard, Lingard's, gone a little bit straight forward. But that's a real missed opportunity for the Hammers.
Mount slips it into Azpilicueta. Chelsea going down this right-hand side a lot so far. Into Werner in the box. Can he turn away? Werner drills it across. Diop blocks. Mount in the box, looking to work some space. Soucek at his back. Turns, lovely. Mason Mount, that is beautiful feet. Mount hits it straight at Fabianski. But what an absolutely delightful turn that was in the box from Mason Mount, who is a player who impresses me more and more each week I see him. Just such tight feet there. To get past Soucek, and yeah, his shot's not the best, but just have that creativity to work the space.
Yeah, he really should be having the audacity to even be able to shoot from there, should he? I mean, West Ham don't actually do a lot wrong. It's just really good play from Mason Mount. So intelligent, isn't he? He's got a low centre of gravity. He just shifts that onto his left foot. It was pretty straightforward for Fabianski to save, but that was unbelievable play by Mason Mount, because he just almost made a nothing situation very, very possible there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting he's only 22, but he's already had 16 England caps, and this is his 99th Chelsea appearance. He's only 22, so his career looks like he's going to be a star in the making, if he's not already. Soufal, forward. Bowen, beaten to it by Rudiger, another one of those players who's come in from the cold under Tuchel, and he gives the ball away there. But then he's done well in the end to win it back. But it's going to be a corner to West Ham. Just an unpraised Rudiger there. He does a very lazy piece of defending that in the end is going to lead to a corner. And West Ham, 16 goals from corners this season. So you don't want to be giving them set pieces.
No, exactly. You don't. I mean, obviously, Dawson's a big presence to think about from the back, but obviously with him missing, that's going to maybe go toward Ogbonna. Obviously, Diop scored against Leicester a few weeks back, but, you look at Thomas Souček, he's somebody who every defence seems to really keep an eye on, and obviously, they'll be hoping from this that Chelsea are able to do what they need to do.
Bowen sends it in. It's a good ball, but Mendy comes out and claims. Been a very solid signing, has Edouard Mendy there, and he dominated his box, which is one thing that Kepa Arrizabalaga can be accused of definitely not doing. This is now Mason Mount, who's popped up on the left-hand side, and he drills a fine ball into Timo Werner. No one with him, Werner, and Balbuena does well. Chelsea already looking probing, I would say is the word. Chilwell into Mount. Back to Jorginho. Into N'Golo Kante. Across to Andreas Christensen. He finds Cesar Azpilicueta and then all the way back to Christensen. This is now Thiago Silva, and West Ham have done well. Forced it all the way back to Edouard Mendy. Rudiger gives the ball away. Soufal now, but Mount comes back at him, and that is a free kick to West Ham. Foul by Mason Mount on Soufal, but Rudiger there putting his team in all sorts of trouble.
He does have that tendency, Antonio Rudiger. I think he's a very, very good player, actually. And of course, Frank Lampard really didn't like him, and he was obviously trying to offload him toward the back end of the summer window. But he does have that real problem that he can just make these lazy passes. And it was a simple ball that he's just got to play to Mason Mount. To be fair, you've got to give Soufal credit because he goes in, closes Mount down quickly, but he's got to put more on it. He just was lazy, and it almost just didn't really lack the real cutting edge and the smoothness that he really should have been putting on that ball.
Yeah, and it's a chance for West Ham to load the box. And as we mentioned, well, it's 16 goals from set pieces, it's 9 goals from corners. Ball clipped in, Souček goes up. Might drop for him, doesn't. Smashed away, Mount in a chase now with Ryan Fredericks. And West Ham deal with it well. Balbuena plays it back to Fabianski. Werner gives chase, but Fabianski takes no messing. 36-year-old thumps it long. And then Souček bundles into Thiago Silva, and it's a free kick to the Blues. Souček, I mean, we already know he loves to get forward. I mean, 9 Premier League goals this season, but he seems to be playing maybe even a bit further forward than even usual so far. He's getting up there, trying to win the headers against the centre-backs, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as the game goes on.
That is a very, very interesting point that you've made there. I mean, he often does tend to do that, Thomas Souček, in terms of he just goes up the pitch just for the aerial battle. I mean, he is somebody, if you're midfielders, the positions really change over time, isn't it? He almost plays in games as a 10, an 8, and even sometimes can play as a 6 at times. Obviously, you've seen him as an 8 and a 10 so far, but he is someone in this West Ham team. When they transition from both defence to attack, he is so important for it.
This is now Mount looking to take on Souček, but he loses it. And West Ham can break here through Fornals. Souček, he's got a run of Ryan Fredericks, and he plays it to Fredericks, and Fredericks can stretch his legs. Driving into the box, Ryan Fredericks. Can he find the cross? No, that was horrible. Great pace from him, but then I can't even describe it. He just sliced a horrible ball high, wide, give Jared Bowen absolutely no chance. He can see where Bowen is, and he just dinks it straight out of play.
I'm not really sure what his thought process was there. I mean, he got a lot more time to see that at the back post there was nobody in there. I think maybe if he played that along the floor toward Bowen, you just expect maybe Bowen to just touch that straight forward and just put that into the back of the net. But down that left-hand side, that's the first time that we've seen West Ham, the attacking point. If you really get down Azpilicueta's side, they know that if they can get past him, Azpilicueta's not really going to catch him.
Werner is onside. It's Timo Werner. He's got 2 men with him, taking on Diop. What can he do, Werner? He plays it in a Pulisic. Shot straight at Fabianski. Werner waited perfectly. Pulisic was there, free. It's a weak effort in the end, but Chelsea got in very, very easily there.
Yeah, they did. And that's what Werner thrives on, really running in behind on the defence. His line, he was perfect. He was onside. He just plays it to Pulisic. He just waits just to pick out the right option. He does the right thing, and it comes to Pulisic, and he takes it first time. He just can't steer it away from Fabianski, who in the end was unmoved and was able to save that without any real trouble at all.
Yeah, that's 2 decent chances for Chelsea. And of course, this is a huge game now after Liverpool's 1-1 draw with Newcastle. The top four race is very, very tight now, and Everton's win last night as well. So if either team could win here, you'd say that'd be a huge step towards getting Champions League football for next season. So, and you can see both teams have got that intent so far. It's been a good, lively start to this one.
Yeah,
Still 0-0 though.
Yeah, both sides are trying to match each other, aren't they, Jack? You can see that West Ham are pushing really high up. They've been the one who've been doing more of the defending so far, but Chelsea are sort of deploying exactly the same things. So both sides are trying to almost say, you do this one thing, we'll try and match you. So it does have that vibe and that feel about it so far.
Yeah, definitely. And this is now Mount to, well, I mean, he's just always everywhere on the pitch. Right? He pops up on the right, he pops up on the left. He can play in the centre. Yeah, it's just an excellent player, and really enjoy watching him. He finds this is now Chilwell. He's got Pulisic with him, who I haven't seen too much of so far, apart from that one effort. Injury hit season for Christian Pulisic, this one, but last season he proved how good he can be for Chelsea. This is now Thiago Silva. Finds Rudiger just inside the centre circle. Threads it into Werner. Into Andreas Christensen, who again was a player who was totally frozen out by Lampard, but's played before this it was 9 of the 13 Premier League games under Tuchel, but it's good to see him back involved in the side. Aspilicueta sends the ball in the box. It's Werner. Can he get there? He can't. Balbuena, great defending in the end. And Soufal clears only as far as Christian Pulisic into Rudiger. This is now Jorginho. I don't know if you saw Jorginho's quotes this week, but he pretty much said that Lampard got the job too early. Oh, this is Christensen into Mount. Mount can't get the shot away. It's a brilliant tackle and West Ham clear. But yeah, basically Jorginho said that Lampard got the job too early and basically pulled some strings to get the job. That's the first real public criticism of Lampard I'd seen, and I thought it was interesting.
It is very interesting comments, isn't it? I mean, obviously, the situation that Chelsea found themselves in, they had a transfer ban. Obviously, Sarri left, and of course they had Champions League football, but with the idea of not really being able to bring players in and make sort of changes to the squad, not wholesale changes. Any top manager was going to be put off it. So Lampard, club legend, knows the DNA. It almost felt like it was going to be that sort of appointment they were going to go down with the situation they were in at the time 18 months ago.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I do think, unfortunately, it's a case for Lampard. Where does he go now? Because in my mind, that was where he would have ended up. Kind of like how I see Gerrard ending up at Liverpool. That's like the sort of the peak. That's where he wants to end up. So it'd be interesting to see where Lampard goes now. Because I'm sure in his mind, the end goal was Chelsea. That was sort of the peak job that he wanted. So it'd be interesting to see how he does. But Tuchel's come in and, as I said, transform what could have been a very, very average season into potentially an excellent one. This ball is cleared and kept in by Mason Mount. And then Aspilicueta finds N'Golo Kante. Kante looking to carry the ball, then flick it through, but he can't. Can West Ham break now? It's Lingard, who we've seen very little of so far. He's got Soufal on the run. Werner at his back, and in the end, Timo Werner does very well, and the attack for West Ham fizzles out. But that's really the first we've seen of Jesse Lingard. Well, you can see what Tuchel thought of that from Werner. Very, very
really good
of the hard work.
Really good backtracking from Timo Werner. He just doesn't give up the chase, does he? He will always run himself into the ground, to be fair. And I think that's why you could probably see that a lot of Chelsea fans don't actually really criticise Timo Werner when he sort of gauge the reactions on social media, because they know he will run himself into the ground. He will do the hard yards that maybe a lot of the other players on the pitch and in the squad won't do. So I think that's probably why he does probably get a little bit less criticism than what he does get at the moment. But of course, as a striker, what he was brought in for, scoring goals, as you touched on earlier, he hasn't quite done it. But of course, he'll be hoping that his second year will be a lot better for him.
Kante with an incisive ball into Mason Mount, who's picked up a nice pocket of space. I'll probably be saying that quite a lot this afternoon. That's a weak header away. It drops to Pulisic. Pulisic working the space. Plays it back into Aspilicueta. Aspilicueta trying to maybe overcomplicate things. Can't find Chilwell. And that is a foul by Rudiger on Lingard. Again, no need. And West Ham get us underway very quickly through Fornals. Fornals trying to, just juggle the ball with his head. And in the end, he fouls his man. He's absolutely furious, Pablo Fornals there, but he just had no support. So I don't know what he was meant to do with that, really.
Yeah, he just had nothing, did he? And you've got to give a lot of credit to those Chelsea players. They just circled him, didn't they? I think there must have been 3 players. It was Azpilicueta who was nibbling away at him. He was intent on not letting Fornals go around him and get past him. So it was really well played from him. And it just shows that Chelsea, they give away a soft free kick and they're just intent on not letting West Ham go toward Edouard Mendy's goal. They're intent on just trying to win it back as soon as possible.
This is Thiago Silva finding Mason Mount, who travels inside and finds Werner. Werner plays into Pulisic. Pulisic turns into the box, into Chilwell now. Can he find space for a cross? Instead, he finds Werner. Werner shoots. Oh, just wide. Well, it's deflected wide. But Werner, I thought he narrowed the angle too much there, but he managed to get a snapshot away and it took a deflection. And Chelsea have a corner, but West Ham cannot get out at the moment.
No, they can't. You almost do feel like that this could be something that Chelsea really do get their goal from. I was really surprised Werner actually was thinking about taking the shot because Azpilicueta was on the corner of the box in acres of space and you would expect him to go there and clip the ball in. But it was a good vital block by Noble. Got out quickly to block Werner's shot.
Well, Chelsea do have 9 goals this season from corners, although Kurt Zuma, their main goal threat, has 5 and he's on the bench at the moment. So, but there's 2 men over this. Chilwell sends it into the box. It's long, it's deep. Christensen trying to get there. Might drop for a blue shirt. Poor clearance. West Ham break through Lingard. Oh, Lingard gives it away. Miscommunication between Bowen and Lingard. It's just not happening for West Ham so far. And the ball is coming straight back at them again through Mason Mount now. And then into Chilwell. Be interesting to see what the possession statistics are. I can imagine Chelsea have had a lot of the ball. This is now Chilwell again. Rolls it into Thiago Silva. West Ham very content to let Chelsea have the ball there, but not when find a split and pass like that. Rudiger. Back to Werner. Into Jorginho. Jorginho. Long ball. Fredericks reads it well and gets it away. Can Souček get there first? He can. He's absolutely wiped out by Andreas Christensen, which he'd be probably lucky to get away with a yellow card here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late one there, wasn't it, from Andreas Christensen? It was really good defended by Fredericks in the first instance. You just see Souček just get fouled by Christensen, but obviously Chris Kavanagh, the referee's been lenient with the Dane on that occasion.
Yeah, a bit lucky there, I think, there. No. Yeah, a bit lucky, I reckon. But it's good. Yeah, I mean, again, as I was saying, he's another player earlier on who Lampard just totally decided wasn't for him. And he's come in and he's played a big part in an absolutely sublime defence. So he deserves a lot of credit for, again, looks like to be turning his Chelsea career around as well. Souček just absolutely was Azpilicueta off the ball there.
I think one thing that really stands out about Christensen for me is his actual ability to play from the back. I think now that the need for a centre-back, especially the back three that can play, is so crucial. And that's why I think really stands in his favour. You look at him, Rudiger, Silva, Zuma. You know, Christensen is head and shoulders above the best of them in terms of playing the ball out from the back. He's very confident. He often comes short from Mendy or wherever the goalkeeper is, but it might be Kepa. You know, he's not afraid to, play that splitting pass or just play it short. And I think that's why in Tuchel's system he's so important, because he can start the attack for those Chelsea players.
Now here come West Ham through Pablo Fornals. He's got Fredericks with him. Fredericks has made a dart and running behind Azpilicueta, and Azpilicueta shows all of his experience to get there and slide in. Should mention this is Azpilicueta's 421st appearance for Chelsea. He's now level with Steve Clarke on the all-time appearance record, signed for just under £8 million. I do struggle to think of a better Premier League signing than Azpilicueta in the last decade or so. An incredible buy for Chelsea, or Dave, as they all like to call him. It's going to be a corner to the Hammers. What can they create from this one? It's Noble. He sends it to the box. Big, powerful header away by Christensen. Might drop for Pablo Fornals here. Fornals lifts one in. Kante goes up, heads it away. Lingard sends it back with interest. Finds Noble. Lingard's in behind here. Jesse Lingard hooks one in. Christensen dominates it, and Chelsea come away with the ball. through Mason Mount into Pulisic. He's got Werner with him. Pulisic still carrying the ball, finds Werner, slips it into Mount. Mount into Pulisic again, and it all goes a bit too complicated for Chelsea, but they have the ball back again. It looked like an interesting counter-attack there for a moment, but I think they were all on the same side, which I don't think helped.
No, they didn't. I mean, you're absolutely right there, Jack. I think they just wanted to get away from there, didn't they? If they had maybe, I don't know, Pulisic or Werner or even Mount, for that fact, that one of the front three was even on that right-hand side, it means that West Ham have got to get out quickly. They've got to shift over, and it just creates even more space. So, yeah, it's a very good point. That was an attack. You just felt that given the intelligence of those Chelsea players that they do possess, they didn't really use it to what you were expecting to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And now they've still got possession, but they could have certainly had a dangerous attack at least. This is Christensen, finds a lovely ball into Aspilicueta, who is offside. But that's exactly that sort of ball playing ability you want about there, because he's split the lines there, hasn't he? And I know Aspilicueta's offside, but Chelsea were going nowhere until he threaded that ball through.
Absolutely. And I think with West Ham, there is almost an element of, we saw it very early on in the midfield that they're going out very quickly to try and press. But in the last sort of 5-10 minutes or so, they've just been very sort of, happy to let Chelsea have the ball. I think you mentioned it on commentary, actually, sort of a few minutes ago, Jack, but they can't afford to do that because obviously Chelsea will happily just keep possession for fun. And then as they get sort of in West Ham's half, they will just decide to maybe think of playing that split and pass that we've seen on a few occasions, and obviously they'll be hoping to be a bit of a better outcome than what it has been already, and gets to a goal or some sort of chance on Łukasz Fabianski's goal.
Ball's played by Rudiger into Christian Pulisic now. He's one-on-one with Balbuena, but Balbuena gets his foot in, and the ball ends up back with Chilwell. But just before that, there was a long ball in behind, and Mendy picked up an absolutely brilliant starting position that ensured that Bowen could do nothing with it. So good goalkeeping by Edouard Mendy there. Ball slipped in by Christensen into Mount. This is now Cesar Aspilicueta into Jorginho. Jorginho finds Rudiger. Chelsea's trying to move West Ham around here. It's Chilwell into Pulisic, who's allowed to turn. And he skips by Balbuena, and Pulisic can't quite make anything of it, but he absolutely blew Balbuena away there. And
yeah, absolutely. It was a similar goal to what he got against Crystal Palace, actually, in terms of where he started that side. He just made that run through the middle, then got it on his left foot and then absolutely smashed it into the top corner of Guaita's goal. He tried to do something similar there, but Souček was in his way. Aspilicueta
finds Kante, who's made a good off-the-ball run. Kante has not won a corner. In the end, it's come back off him. And it was great to see Kante last week. I don't know if you watched the FA Cup semi-final, but I thought he was man of the match. It was like Kante of old against Manchester City. He was absolutely everywhere. And he wasn't playing this stupid box-to-box role that Sarri and Lampard made him play. And he was just playing as his normal, sweeping up everything. And he was one of the key reasons Chelsea won, in my opinion, last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we know what N'Golo Kante's game's all about, isn't it? In terms of winning the ball back. And he just does the simple things, doesn't he? I mean, he's somebody who you could maybe spend a year trying to coach to be a box-to-box midfielder, but he probably will never be that. His goal return and his assists, for me, never really stand out as to why Sarri and Lampard tried to make him in that role. But obviously, under Tuchel, as you've mentioned, he's almost played him in a deeper role. And it was the role that was so crucial in terms of, Leicester winning the title in 2016 and Chelsea winning it the year later under Antonio Conte.
Yeah, it was baffling why both of them thought he could be a boxer. Is it because he's, I don't know, is it because he's quick and he's got the legs, he can get up and down? I understand that, but he was so good. The reason he was so good in that holding midfield role is because he was so quick. He was miles ahead of the game before anyone else. So it just made no sense. And it was great to see him actually in that deeper role now. Mount has been fouled by Issa Diop, and then Mount just kicks it off Issa Diop. Well, I have no idea what's going on there. I mean, I think Aspilicueta tried to get us back on the way of the ball, but the ball was definitely moving. And
yeah,
Chris Kavanagh,
absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Kavanagh is right to bring that one back. So we're about half an hour in here. It's flown by, to be honest, this first half, but no goals as of yet as well. A lot of Chelsea's games under Tuchel have actually not been the most thrilling in terms of goals, but there's been some really good tactical play from both sides, really. West Ham defending solidly enough and Chelsea probing and I don't know, threatening in their own way as well. Ball played over the top here by Christensen. Mount, lovely touch. Gets past Diop. Can he work the space for the shot? He finds Werner. Werner turns, hits it. Miles wide in the end, but what an absolutely delightful touch that was by Mason Mount again. I don't know how he's brought that down. It's pinged to him by Christensen. He just kills it in the sky. And he finds Werner, and it's a difficult chance in the end for Timo Werner. Snapshot well wide in the end.
It's absolutely sublime from Mason Mount. He does really well to lay it into Werner. I think for me, Werner gets closed down really well. The angle's sort of really tight for him. The door is firmly slammed shut. I felt like for me, maybe there should have been an option on the edge of the box, because if he lays that back, there should be a Chelsea attacking play. Maybe Jorginho, or even maybe sort of Pulisic could have just drifted out from that left-hand side into the middle and just got that shot away at Fabianski. But obviously Werner tried on the snapshot, and he was going to have to do something very, very well to get that on target, first of all, and then secondly, beat Fabianski.
Balbuena drills it forward, and it's come to Jesse Lingard, and West Ham can come out here with Mark Noble in the centre circle. Noble drills it, just lays it into Soucek. Soucek advancing forward with the ball, finds Soufal into Jared Bowen, back to Soufal, and this is Noble again. Cross to Issa Diop, into Ryan Fredericks, Fornals, and Fornals tried to find the run of Fredericks, but nothing doing on that occasion, and Chelsea come away with the ball. Nice flick by Mount into Jorginho. This is now Mount again. Slips a interesting ball towards Pulisic, but Agbona reads it and deals with it. Been impressed with Balbuena so far, actually. I mean, he's a player who they've barely used at all, West Ham. They've only used him because Craig Dawson got sent off. He's only had one appearance since the 27th of December, but he's made a solid enough start to this one. This is now Chilwell. Chilwell sends it into the box. Werner can't get there, and it's hammered away by Ryan Fredericks. Can Bowen make anything of this? No. Thiago Silva gets there ahead of him. Interesting to know who the happier the two managers are so far. I think Moyes will be relatively content with the fact that Chelsea have not really carved the Hammers open as of yet, but he probably won't be too happy with maybe the lack of threat that West Ham have had.
But then if you do, when I've seen West Ham this season, they are very much a team designed to counter-attack. I think that's what is their main strength. When they had Antonio up front, it worked so well because they'd get the ball into him and he'd play it quickly to one of the midfielders, whether it was Soucek or Fornals, and Bowen and, Lingard's pace would be absolutely frightening, and it would get in behind the opposition defence and they'd get a chance on goal. But obviously, they've had to reshuffle the pack a little bit. They've almost put Lingard down the middle. They've almost put Bowen down there. Fornals has played down there since Antonio obviously was sidelined with injury. So it has changed things a little bit. But this is their usual sort of style, isn't it, West Ham? They are very much a team who can be quite defensive, just wait for the opportunities to prey on their opponents. But as of yet, they've not really been able to find something, as Chelsea have been very, very confident and very calm in possession.
Noble carrying the ball there, finds Lingard. This is now Soufal. Soufal whips it into the box. Bowen beaten to it. And Rudiger completes the clearance. Comes into Werner. Pulisic can't collect the one. This is now Lingard. What can he do? Lingard hits it, blocked by Thiago Silva, showing the confidence of a man who scored 9 goals in his last 10 appearances for the Hammers. They're having a shot from about 25 yards straight at Thiago Silva, though. But he's been in, run out of superlatives, really, for Jesse Lingard since he's joined West Ham, really. But he's back, as would say.
Yeah, I think you can almost assume that. I think his time at United, it was a perfect move for him, wasn't it? It just suited all parties, didn't it? I mean, obviously, David Moyes would have known all about him in terms of being in the United Youth Academy and when he was there. And obviously, when he left, Van Gaal used him quite a bit. Mourinho, certainly, in his first season, used him. And then he sort of, I think after the World Cup, where he scored that wonderful goal against Panama, his almost career just sort of stagnated and fell away, but he's almost found a home at West Ham and rediscovered his love for the game. Well,
Werner's going in the book for this. That is a cynical tackle on Jesse Lingard. Lingard was away. West Ham were bursting forward, and Werner has scythed the England man down.
Yeah, it's a typical striker's challenge, isn't it? Doesn't really nowhere near the ball. Doesn't really need to make the challenge for me. I think Lingard's still too far away for even Werner to be contemplating diving in, and this could prove to be costly for Werner and the West London side.
Yeah, Obviously, one thing we must say is that Aaron Cresswell is missing, and he has got 7 assists this season, pretty much all from set pieces. So they don't have their usual set piece, I guess, specialist on it. So, but still, Lingard can deliver a ball, and he stands over it and he sends it into the box, and it's a Bonner, and it might drop here, and it's deflected, and it's gone just wide. They want handball against Azpilicueta.
Not so
We'll
sure.
have to, I think VAR will obviously check it. It's going to be a corner for now, but that free kick caused absolute havoc in the Chelsea box.
Well, they doubled up on Bonner, didn't they? Chilwell and Christensen, and then Souček just sort of just tries to guide it toward the goal, just gets a foot to it. It feels like, to me, it's almost just gone off Azpilicueta's shoulder and then just sort of bobbled off his arm onto his leg. I think it's going to be very, very hard to give that a penalty for me. And I don't think Chris Kavanagh's actually interested, to be fair.
No, it's not a penalty. There's not a chance that's a penalty. But it's another chance for West Ham, and they work a clever one here. It's Bowen into Lingard. Bowen, what can he do? He's travelling, and in the end, it's gone away from the Hammers a bit. Floated back in by Soufal. Balbuena climbed high, but couldn't get the direction or the power on the header. And wide of the far post. But signs of life from the Hammers there.
Yeah, absolutely. They try and use crossing and putting balls into the box at their best advantage, given the real height that they've got. It's a good clip ball in by Sofa. You know what Balbuena's just trying to do, but he just can't quite steer that sort of more in the middle of the goal and just pick out Hammer's shirt. And in the end, he just sort of heads it down into the ground and out of play. But I think West Ham maybe might start to look at that a little bit more, because they've been really quiet on that front in terms of putting balls into the box from free kicks or crosses or even corners, for that fact.
Yeah, exactly. And as I've said, that they are a huge threat from set pieces. So Mendy might be taking some risks here. Oh, he slipped a ball that's come through to Soufal. It was inches away from being intercepted by either Fornals or Bowen. Clipped in by Fornals. Headed away by Chilwell. Comes out to Noble. And Chelsea survived, but Mendy there, very, very dodgy. This is now Bowen. And he's won his side corner. Mendy can laugh about it now, but he was nearly no laughing matter.
Well, it was very, very casual, wasn't it? He's almost just tried to take the mick out of West Ham there, and he's put a little bit too much on that ball just to make sure it doesn't get intercepted. But obviously, he had no immediate pressure in him. And I think he probably just took that for granted, because he did play a little bit too much of a lazy pass, which West Ham pounced upon quickly, made good yards and got a corner. So, of course, he's given a corner away, in which West Ham are very, very good from.
Bowen sends it into the box. Headed away at the front post. And it might drop for Kante. Heads it away. Only as far as Soufal. Soufal finds Jared Bowen now. Bowen into Soufal again. Finds Pablo Fornals. Back into Soufal. Can he work the space for a cross here? It's got Bowen making a run in behind, but nothing comes of it. And I think it's going to be a West Ham throw.
With Soufal on that right-hand side, you just want Bowen just to make that run through, just straight ahead, and he just didn't do it. And that just means that Soufal just got to hold on to the ball, doesn't he? That looked like a foul throw to me, I've got to admit.
Yeah, the standard of throwing in the Premier League has got worse over the years. They barely even notice foul throws anymore.
It's a very, what I'm trying to think of the word to describe it. Very irrelevant
basic
law. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I think it's probably sort of just irrelevant, isn't it, to referees these days?
Yeah, especially when they've got VR to deal with. Werner with a flick on. Only as far as Bonner. Back into Lucas Fabianski. He finds Issa Diop. Diop into Fredericks. There's some nice play by West Ham here. Fredericks, can he stretch his legs this time? No. Azpilicueta gets back at him. And Conte completes the clearance. Yeah, I mean, since that first time when Fredericks got in behind Azpilicueta, well, basically the Spaniards dominated that battle so far, hasn't he? Since then, he's shown all of his experience, and he hasn't been beaten by him yet. But I can see why David Moyes put Fredericks in instead of Ben Johnson, because he's quicker.
Absolutely, and he brings you just a little bit more athleticism, a little bit more attacking sort of threat, and a bit more dynamism, doesn't he? And obviously, with Fredericks, you could probably say in the defensive side of it, you could probably say Johnson might be slightly better. But then obviously he goes and equals that because he's better than Johnson going forward. So I can kind of see why, because, as we know, West Ham on the break is so quick, and they'll be hoping that Frederick can just get in behind Azpilicueta and just get the better of the Spaniard, who, as we know, his positioning is probably, for me, defensively, one of the best in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. That's the reason he can play centre-back so comfortably, because there's not many other full-backs in the Premier League who can play full-back so comfortably. This is now Mount. Sorry, not full-back, I meant centre-back. This is Mount slipping it into Timo Werner. Agbona gets in there, strong tackle, and Soucek comes away with the ball. This is Lingard. He's on the break now. Lingard's got Fornals over, and Christensen has hauled him to the floor. And let's be honest, Christensen's lucky that he hasn't been booked already. Well, that's definitely going to be a yellow card. But he arguably should have been booked earlier in the first half anyway.
Well, yeah,
yellow card.
You could make that argument. You're absolutely right, Jack. Great play by Lingard. Just gets away from Christensen, shows him a clean pair of heels. He's quite lucky, actually, that Christensen's made that far, because Pablo Fornals was in absolutely yards of space. Nobody on that Chelsea right-hand side was even near him. And Lingard just did not see him, to be fair. He might not have been aware, just did not get a shout. You just don't know, do you? But obviously, to be fair, you could say it was cynical from Christensen, but I think that might have been quite a good tactical foul.
Noble floats it into the box. It's going to be a throw. West Ham starting to come into this one a lot more now, getting balls into the box, causing problems.
Yeah, I just think they're slightly penning Chelsea back just that little bit more, aren't they? I think Chelsea's defence had a little bit too comfortable for sort of 30, 35 minutes. But you could probably say now that West Ham have just tried to put more balls into the box. It means that Chelsea's defence just drops at least an extra yard or two defending.
Yeah, and we've got to remember West Ham are missing, well, I mean, there's that man on the screen who's been absolutely brilliant this season. Him and Soucek in that midfield. Struggle to think of a better central midfield partnership this season, really. Smashed away by Jorginho. They're missing Cresswell. They're missing Antonio. And they've still managed to grind out wins, and they've still managed to grind out points. David Moyes, for me, is manager of the season, no matter what happens, really.
Yeah, I think you've got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, obviously, he was sort of there before Pellegrini sort of came in, and they tried the approach, didn't they? West Ham of trying to compete with the big boys, trying to chase the top four, and they spent a lorry load of money, and they kind of bought players that didn't really fit the mould at West Ham.
Yeah.
But David Moyes has still got those old school sort of mentalities, and just sort of didn't spend a lot of money, but just bought the right type of character.
Pulisic finds Chilwell into the box. It's Werner, and he's ended his goal drought. It's now Timo Werner's 6th goal of the season. Lovely play by Ben Chilwell. Great cross, and there's Werner, a slide in. Simple finish for the German, but when you're on that bad of a goal drought, that's what you need, a goal like that. And it is 1-0 to Chelsea.
Absolutely, Jack. You're absolutely spot on. That's the first time we've seen really Ben Chilwell in a really offensive position. Goes into it quickly from Pulisic, and he knows exactly where he wants to put it. He's just got to make sure the execution comes off. He just rolls it gently along the floor. Not too much power. Straight into Timo Werner. He knows if he turns his right foot into it, he's probably going to put that in the back of the net. Fabianski tried his best to just come across and close it down and just throw himself in front of the shot. But well played, Werner, getting in that position and, more importantly, putting in the back of the net. And Chelsea 1-0 up with the first half fast approaching toward the end.
Yeah, just as West Ham was starting to come back into the game a bit more, Chelsea do to West Ham what West Ham do to everyone else. Hit them on the counter-attack. The ball by Chilwell is absolutely sublime. I mean, you couldn't have wished. It was on a plate for Timo Werner, and he was there. He was in the position you want your striker, and he slotted it in. And that's exactly the goal he needs for the season he's had, and certainly in front of goal. So what can West Ham do? They're going to have to be a bit more adventurous now. They're going to have to come out a bit more. This should open the game up. But Chelsea, as we all know, defensively are absolutely brilliant. So should be an enticing, end of the first half and second half. This is now Fredericks into Mark Noble. Finds Lingard. Noble finding Fornals, who's just come out onto this right-hand side into Soufal. And that puts Chelsea 4 points clear of Liverpool and 3 points clear of West Ham and only 1 point behind Leicester. As I said, because of that Liverpool result earlier on and the Everton result as well last night, this was a massive game for both sides in the race for the Champions League. And if it stays as it is, Chelsea took a huge step into the top 4 for next season. This is now Ogbonna into Issa Diop. Finds Lingard, who's swarmed upon by N'Golo Kante, but he gets away from him in the end. Only 1 minute of added time here. Noble into Balbuena. Back to Noble. Ogbonna into Diop. Now this is Souček. Ogbonna with maybe a ball that had Werner slightly interested, but Balbuena deals with it. Be interesting to see, because I think Moyes wouldn't have been too unhappy with his players, to be honest, with the first half, but now they're going to have to come out and they're going to have to be a lot more adventurous, aren't they?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think he'll want half time to come now, because then he can just sort of consult his coaching staff whether or not they'll change it. They weren't a million miles away in that first half. It was just that one bit of quality down that left that put that ball in. But obviously, it just depends how early in the second half Moyes wants to change it.
Yeah, and there is the halftime whistle. So quite a lively game, this one, but it's Timo Werner's 6th Premier League goal of the season that gives Chelsea the lead at halftime. Over to you, Russ.
Thank you very much, Jack and Matt. First half ends with Chelsea leading by 1-0 against West Ham, and West Ham beginning to go on top towards the end of that first half then, but Chelsea with a sucker punch towards the end of that first half, and fantastic goal as well from Timo Werner. We'll get the thoughts of Matt in a few moments' time. I'm just going to run through some more of those results which I didn't mention during the results at the top of the show. In the Women's Super League, it finished Aston Villa 2, Bristol City 2. In the Scottish Cup, it's currently Hibernian 1, Motherwell 0. That's been played 56 minutes. In the National League today, let's run through those scores. They finished Aldershot 2, Wealdstone 0, Altrincham 2, Barnet 3, Bournemouth 0, Stockport County 3, FC Halifax Town 1, Bromley 2, Kings Lynn 0, Dagenham Redbridge 3, Maidenhead United 2, Woking 1, Solihull Moors 5, Yeovil Town 1, Torquay United 2, Notts County 2, Wrexham 0, Chesterfield 0. Now, half time as well. I think the second half is going to be kicking off very, very soon in this game. But half time is Eastleigh 1, Sutton United 0. Sutton with a win could go to the top of the table. Eastleigh, I think they're trying to get into the playoff places in the National League. In the Scottish Championship today, Ayr United 0, Queen of the South 0, Dundee 2, Wraith Rovers 1, Dunfermline 4, Arbroath 3, Arts 3, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, Greenock Morton 1, Alloa Athletic 1. In Scottish League 1, East Fife 2, Dumbarton 1, Falkirk 2, Cove Rangers 2, Partick Thistle 1, Adrionians 0, Peterhead 3, Clyde 0. Scottish League 2, it finished Albion Rovers 1, Annan Athletic 0, Edinburgh City 0, Stirling Albion 1, Stenhousemuir 0, Cowdenbeath 2. Result in that one. In La Liga, it finished Elche 1, Levante 0, Real Valladolid 1, Cadiz 1, Valencia and Alaves 0-0 coming up towards the end of first half in that one. And 8 o'clock, Real Madrid take on Real Betis. In the German Bundesliga, it finished Union Berlin 3, Werder Bremen 1, Mainz 2, Bayern Munich 1, Freiburg 1, Hoffenheim 1, VfL Wolfsburg 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. And at half-time is Bayer Leverkusen 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 0. Italian Serie A, Genoa 2, Spezia 0. Port is a full-time score. Latest score in 58 minutes, Parma 3, Control 3, Sassuolo take on Sampdoria at 7:45 this evening. French Ligue 1, Saint Etienne 1, Brest 2, Metz 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3. As well, in the Australian A-League, Central Coast Mariners 2, Sydney FC 2, Macarthur 1, Melbourne City 1, and some scores in the Dutch Eredivisie as well to bring you up to date with. Heerenveen 0, Pekkerswolo 2, 32 minutes Scottish PSV 0, Krogen 0, Groningen, should I say, 0, PSV 0, Groningen 0, Sparta Rotterdam 0, VV Venlo 0. in that one as well. And in the Russian Premier League, a big scoreline for Zenit St. Petersburg. Zenit St. Petersburg 6, Rotor Volgograd 0 is a full-time score over there. Well, and Lokomotiv Moscow 2-1 up with Tambov in the Russian league as well. Speaking of Russia and speaking of St. Petersburg, it was confirmed yesterday, along with Wembley Stadium, for this summer's Euros. St. Petersburg have got a few more games for the Euros this summer. So we'll touch on that in a few moments as we look towards the European Championships, which we should be able to cover a few matches on the channel throughout. And it was confirmed yesterday that Wembley are given an extra last 16 tie as Dublin loses the fixtures. Wembley has been given an extra Euro 2020 last 16 tie, which could involve England after Dublin lost its 4 matches because of COVID-19 issues. Bilbao's 4 games have been moved to fellow Spanish city Sevilla, while Munich will keep their matches. It is down to Erst. Dublin's 3 group games have gone to St. Petersburg, and the last 16 tie will be played at Wembley. The last 16 tie will feature the winner of Group D, which include England and also Scotland, Croatia, Czech Republic. Whoever finishes top will take on second place in Group F on June the 29th. So, big news there for regarding the Euro 2020 campaign, which we intend to cover quite a lot or majority of the matches on Football Commentary for it, so you won't miss a kick of Euro 2020. We'll bring you as much coverage as we can from that one, and some fantastic results in the football so far today. And commiserations to Bristol Rovers, who were relegated to League Two after the defeat earlier to Portsmouth, which I mentioned that kicked off at 1 o'clock. Portsmouth winning 1-0, which meant Bristol Rovers, now managed by Joey Barton, relegated to League Two. And we've one of our members here on Football Commentary Live is a Bristol Rovers fan, and we'll just fetch him in for a second now. And Matt Iles is the co-commentator for this match today. Matt, Bristol Rovers, what's their season been like, mate? And do you know you've watched them quite a bit this season?
It was never nice to be relegated. It was always coming. It was literally delaying the inevitable. Just not been good enough. Table doesn't lie. 44 games. Not scored enough goals. We've not had a goal scorer all season. 3 managers have not been able to get the best out of this group of players, which obviously, was expected to kind of propel us to a new level and new heights. It's not worked out like that. So obviously, it comes into the summer now that we've got 2 games left to play, and all it really is now is that, there's a couple of players playing for their futures, and hopefully you want to see some youngsters involved. But it's sad, it's not nice, but, it's been coming for me. So, it's almost a weight, I think, off not just my shoulders, but every Rovers fans this evening for sure.
Yes, and on the other end of League One, Hull City were promoted today after their win against Lincoln City. They won 2-1 in the game. So you've probably seen a bit of Hull from matches against Bristol Rovers and from other League One games that you've managed to catch. Matt, what have you made to Hull this season in League One? And do you feel their promotion is long overdue, and do you feel it's deserved for them this time around?
Yeah, I think it is very much deserved. I mean, obviously, last season was a shocking end to it. You've got to give a lot of credit to Grant McCann, because he's really sort of restored himself and has obviously redeemed, I think, for the relegation in which they kind of did go down to an extent with a bit of a whimper. But obviously, it was known before the season his track record in League One was excellent. He took Doncaster to the playoff semi-finals, nearly got them into the playoff final, but obviously they were heartbreakingly beat on penalties by Charlton in 2019. But obviously, he kept a lot of the core of the players from last season. It was a League One team really in the Championship. You look at Tom Eaves, you look at Malik Wilkes. I mean, Wilkes this season's been one of the best players in the third tier. He's a phenomenal talent. They deserve it. You know, I've said from near enough, a couple of months into the season, it would probably be they that were going to be winning this league. And, you know, you can certainly see why they fully deserve it. They played the right way. You know, away from home, they've been excellent. I think they've nearly scored 50 goals as well, which is a phenomenal return. And it's quite unheard of figures. So, you know, well played to them. And, you know, full compliments to their promotion from everyone, I'd imagine, at Football Commentary Live for us.
Yes, everyone at Football Coach Live sends our congratulations to Hull City and our commiserations to everyone connected, the fans and board and the players and the staff at Bristol Rovers for their relegation. But congratulations sent on behalf of everyone at Football Coach Live to the staff, players, board at Hull City as well, and also to Norwich City, who confirmed the promotion last week. Also to Watford, who confirmed their promotion today as well. Going away from the Football League and to the Premier League, where this match is being played. The match we were covering is from. To now we've got a resident Newcastle fan in the house in Jack Cunningham. And Jack, Newcastle got a point today against Liverpool. Leeds got a point last week against Liverpool. Callum Wilson with a goal disallowed. I was listening to the former referee Peter Walton saying if next season the goal for Callum Wilson, which was chalked off, it's Wilson on the arm and falls to Joe Willock next season, that would stand. And where he fell to Wilson today after his arm and went in. Your thoughts on the whole performance from Newcastle today, that decision? Also, you must be delighted with a very big goal in the 95th minute from Joe Willock against Liverpool earlier on today.
Yeah, it was a shambolic game of football, to be honest. The defending on display was, Liverpool had about, 10 really good chances. Dubravka made some really good saves, but Liverpool also just overcomplicated a lot. But we did actually deserve something from the game. That high line Liverpool play is so easy to get through because they don't press high enough anymore. They sort of drop off, but they still play a high line. I don't know what Klopp's been doing this season, but either way, it was one ball in behind every single time. As soon as he brought Wilson on, he was offside a few times, but you knew at one point it was going to work. So Maximan slips him in. He shoots. It comes back off his arm. I mean, what is he meant to do about it? I couldn't believe it. I mean, it is the law, so it is disallowed. You know, fair enough, it gets disallowed, but it shouldn't be the law. You've got to, whoever's making these laws obviously don't know anything about football because you've got to look at it. It's common sense. He hits the shot. He gets a push off Alexander-Arnold as well, which wasn't looked at. It comes back to him. He's on the floor and he just sticks his foot out and puts it in the net. They disallow it. And then, to be fair to the lads, what great character to come back. And Willock has been absolutely brilliant signing. He's scored loads of late goals. I don't know how he doesn't start. He keeps scoring. Bruce continues to bench him. What more does he need to do? Get a start? He can't start next week because we're playing Arsenal. He's on loan from Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, look, after the Brighton game, I thought we were down. But, 8 points from, 12? 8 points from 12 now. And it looks like we're safe for another season. It hasn't been a good season, though. I'm relieved that we're staying up, but there needs to be improvements made in the summer. Either the managerial change or certain players need to move on. But either way, I'm pleased. It was a good performance today. We deserved the point. We've played well in recent weeks. It's actually been enjoyable watching Newcastle at the moment. St. Maximan has been absolutely incredible since he's come back. A bit worried we might not be able to cling on to him in the summer. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, look, we've stayed up by the looks of it. We're 9 points clear now, I believe. Fulham play Chelsea and Man United next. So it looks like we've stayed in the Premier League, but let's not sugar it's been a bad season for Newcastle and things need to change in the summer.
Yes, and say things need to change in the summer, Jack, there, just briefly before the second half gets underway in our feature match this evening. And if anyone's wondering why it's black across the bottom, this match week and other match weeks as well in the Premier League is stamp out racism in football, and thought we'll do that the same here on our channel tonight to promote that as well. But Jack, going back to Newcastle briefly just before the second half kicks off in our feature game between West Ham and Chelsea this evening. Next season, you say Newcastle needs some changes. Would one of the changes, in your opinion, be the manager, or do you think it's somebody else who needs to be changed for some of the players, maybe?
Well, obviously, I'd love a takeover to happen because that's the only way Newcastle are ever going to go forward as a club. Not this one that's been going on for over a year now, because I don't believe that. I don't believe there's anything in that anymore. But someone needs to come in and buy the club and not and just give Newcastle fans hope, because we've seen what's happened now that the Big Six, or the so-called Big Six, have reacted and rejected their owners, and Newcastle have never had that media attention, really. We've just been sort of like, oh yeah, deal with it. Rio Ferdinand literally told Newcastle fans to go and buy the club if they were unhappy. You know what I mean? It's not. So we need a takeover, but if that doesn't happen, Bruce needs to be replaced. Chris Wilde will be my choice. The second half's about to start, so there we go.
Yes, thank you, Jack. As it says, the second half is ready to get underway. West Ham will be kicking us off then. And it's now time for me to hand back to our match commentators, Matt Iles, and first of all, Jack Cunningham.
Well, some really good chat there at half time. It's about Bristol Rovers and Newcastle United, but attention quickly turns now to the second half here, where it is Chelsea 1, West Ham United 0. And it's West Ham kicking us from right to left. It'll be interesting to see how West Ham approaches second half, and I can imagine it's going to be the same sort of thing from Chelsea, really. This is Fornals, spreads it out to Vladimir Soufal, who, well, I thought he was going to send it in the box, but he thinks better of it this time. He finds Jesse Lingard instead. Lingard back into Mark Noble. Finds Fornals. Fornals into Noble. Noble clips one. It's a good ball, actually. No one in the box for West Ham. Soufal just whips it in there, and Mendy comes out and claims. Good approach play by West Ham there, but you could see when Soufal was looking up, there was not one claret and blue shirt in the box. Straight away, though, Chelsea give the ball away. This is Noble. Finds Jared Bowen. And Bowen, terrible pass away. This is now Werner. Still going with the ball, Timo Werner. Not got a lot of support there from Chelsea. I thought they might have attacked with a bit more, I don't know, ferocity there, Chelsea, but it's quite a bit laboured. In the end, it is all the way back with Andreas Christensen. So yeah, if you just joined us, it's West Ham 0. Chelsea won 46 minutes, 46 minutes, 30 seconds. Paul, sloppy start of the second half, both sides number ways. Lingard finds Soufal. Lingard again. And West Ham win a throw. And can catch our breath now.
It's been a real frantic start to the second half, hasn't it? I mean, West Ham immediately just almost trying to get on the front foot. I was very sort of surprised at the approach they've taken, because they don't usually tend to change their approach that often, West Ham. But they, sent an opportunity that Chelsea had it a little bit too lightly in that first half. So obviously they're trying to chase them as quickly as they can to get back in the game, aren't they, Jack?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a silly foul by Pablo Fornals there, because Chelsea were going nowhere, but it allows the Blues to regroup. But we've got 2 games tomorrow. We've only got 1 game tomorrow. You're doing a game, aren't you?
Yeah, should be doing the Leeds versus Man United game. Of course, such a big game, isn't it? Obviously, Leeds and Man United fans share a rivalry, and it should be an interesting one. Of course, with United just trying to keep the title race just alive, just ever more by the games, isn't it? Really, in their case, try and stop their rivals from winning it.
Yeah, and Leeds obviously looking to get revenge for that 6-2 defeat, which was, well, probably the only real low point of Leeds' season, to be honest. Great tackle by Ogbonna. That was absolutely brilliant, because Mount was looking to motor away. This is now Soucek. Finds no one. Well, in the end, Frederick is going to pick it up. But West Ham have made a hash of this. They managed to regain the ball. Lingard. Soucek. Balbuena being instructed to play the ball forward by the big Czech Republican. And in the end, it's all the way back to Fabianski. Yeah, obviously Chelsea also have an FA Cup final to play as well. So they've got some really big games. While there's a few teams whose seasons are sort of petering out, Chelsea's is definitely not. competing on 3 fronts. This is Ogbonna. Finds Diop. Diop into Jared Bowen. Souček just in the centre circle. Flings one out to his fellow countryman, Soufal, who's kept it in play, fair play. And Lingard finds Souček. Back to Lingard now. Bowen once more. And Diop. And then Bonner. West Ham already having a lot more of the ball. But Chelsea sitting in very compact and tight so far. This is now Fornals. Carrying the ball. Gives it away. He's had a pretty poor game, has Pablo Fornals so far.
It is almost, to me, a little bit, Jack, like Chelsea expected that West Ham were going to come out like this and almost be on the front foot and almost approach it like they're desperate to get the equaliser. I mean, they're not really troubling Chelsea as of yet, so there's no need to worry for those supporters at home and for Thomas Tuchel. But, you know, should West Ham start to find the players getting in behind and the balls get through toward the Chelsea defence, that's when maybe the problems and the anxiety sort of cranks up just a little bit more for the Blues.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 1-0, and as we did say, Chelsea do have an absolutely brilliant defensive record, but I always think when it's 1-0, you can never be comfortable. Nice flick here by, well, trying to find Fredericks, but Chelsea regain the ball through Jorginho now. Back to Rudiger. And Rudiger gives it away. That's what we're talking about there. This is Bowen now. Into Mark Noble. West Ham can get men in the box here. Soufal. I'm going to take on Jorginho. Gets past him. Sends his cross in. There's absolutely no one there where the ball went. And Soufal picks it up. 5 assists this season for Soufal. Been a really, really good signing from Slavia Prague. Fornals trying to run Rudiger, but he's not getting any change out of him there. And Thiago Silva launches it away. It's been a pretty scrappy start of the second half, really.
Yeah, Chelsea just almost being inside their own half, aren't they, for the opening sort of 6 minutes of this half. And they're very much being a little bit sloppy. I think probably too much for Thomas Tuchel's likings. He's almost just on his technical area shouting what for.
Nice ball. It's Soufal. He's in behind here. Can he find a claret and blue shirt? No, he can't. Thiago Silva stands strong at the front post and heads away. And now Pulisic finds Kante. And here go Chelsea. He's got Mason Mount with him. He finds Mason Mount. Mount slips it into Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta into Pulisic. It's all got a bit tight. And West Ham have dealt with it well. Looked like there was something promising for a moment there, but there was a few passes that were just a bit behind their intended targets.
Yeah, that ball into Pulisic from Azpilicueta was just a little bit rushed, wasn't it? It just sort of came into him, and Pulisic just was not set for it at all, was he? It just allowed the West Ham players just to really crowd round him and just sort of stand firm and not allow any shot or any ball get played through their defensive line.
This is Jorginho with a nice ball through to Mount. Finds Azpilicueta. And good defending by Ryan Fredericks in the end, because he could see exactly what the Spaniard was trying to do. Didn't get in behind for Mason Mount, but good block.
Yeah, I mean, an observation I've actually made about Chelsea sort of in this 52 and a half minutes is that they're trying to make runs with their wing backs through the middle. Not so much with Chilwell, actually, but Azpilicueta and Mount is almost on the attacking on that right-hand side, almost made runs through the middle rather than go wide toward the touchline. They're not focused on putting sort of crosses in from real wide areas. They're almost playing to Werner's strength, which is getting the ball through the middle. And obviously they're trying to do that for Mount. Pulisic's been the quieter of the trio so far, but you know that's one thing I've really noticed, and it's almost going on the wrong side of Fredericks, if you like, as a defensive marker. So hopefully West Ham can try and combat
into the box, and Soufal gets there ahead of Pulisic. But yes, I totally see your point there. I think they have made more incisive runs into the middle rather than maybe the traditional wing back overlapping runs. This is now Azpilicueta into Kante. It was a decent ball in by Mount. It was curling and it was inviting for Pulisic, but good defending by Soufal in the end, and the score remains at 1-0. This is now Mendy, who we already saw in the first half. Wasn't too sure with his feet, but there he's picked out Good ball and, well, no foul there. And West Ham continue through. It's a Diop who pings one in the direction of Bowen. Christensen reads it well and finds Jorginho. And now this is Pulisic. Can he finally get involved in the game? He's got Chilwell with him. Finds Chilwell now, the goal scorer, Timo Werner. You think he'd be hungry for more now. Mount hits it. Oh, what an effort by Mason Mount. Comes out to Werner, who's put it wide.
That's a shock.
How has Timo Werner missed that? You'd think after the confidence flowing through him from the goal he got in the first half, and he just missed an absolute sitter. But what an effort by Mason Mount.
That was a terrific effort, wasn't it? Just bent it, tried to just catch Fabianski cold. And to be fair, Werner gets really fortunate that it goes back into his path, because you think Fabianski's just going to push that away, but he just sort of brings it back into play. It comes to Werner. He takes it on first time on his weaker left foot, and Thomas Tuchel's absolutely puzzled, isn't it? I mean, that is an absolutely shocking miss. I mean, I don't know which miss is worse. The one he had on international duty in Germany against North Macedonia. I don't know if you saw it, Jack. I mean,
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I mean, it is an absolute sitter, but that one is right up there as well. And Timo Werner, he does the good, doesn't he? But he just does the bad so much worse, doesn't he? And he really is a player that goes through the motions, doesn't he?
You just thought that was going to be his second goal of the game. I mean, Tuchel couldn't believe it. I mean, that is going to be a meme, surely. That,
even we
that
couldn't
Tuchel
believe
reaction.
it. I mean, I was...
Yeah. Look, for all the world, who's going to tap it in. This is Jorginho trying to thread it into Werner, but clearly now miscommunication between Werner and Jorginho. It'll be interesting to see how Werner reacts from this now, because I can imagine all that confidence is probably just drained from him. This is now Lingard. Can West Ham punish them? It's Fornals! And it's straight at Edouard Mendy. He got out of his feet, Fornals. He had a lot more time than I think he thought. And he just hasn't caught it properly. And it's very, very comfortable for the Senegalese international.
Yeah, too straight, isn't it, from Fornals? He's able to get it away from Thiago Silva as Silva sort of goes toward his right to try and block the shot. But Edouard Mendy underneath it, and he's obviously got a clear side of making the save.
This is Lingard. Lingard trying to clip one in. It's going to reach Bowen. Bowen works the space, and Christensen in the end redeems himself because he missed a very, very simple ball in there, Christensen. But he got back well and made the block.
Yeah, that was a real vital block, wasn't it? Because as you said, he was sort of positioned wrong when trying to sort of clear it. He just turned his body quickly and he made a real mess of it. It goes to Bowen, but he just completely got in front of it and just stopped Bowen from hitting it into that right-hand corner on his left foot.
This is ball in behind for Fredericks. He's got there. Now, what can he do with it? Needs some help. Finds Jared Bowen. That Werner miss seems to have woke West Ham up. Ball into the box. Comes to Soufal. Plays it in. Oh, I thought he was going to shoot there. He's got to shoot, like he had the time. But he tries to play the cross in instead. He's got the ball back, and in the end, it's all the way back with Balbuena. This is now Noble. Fornals.
Maybe just feel that if that was Ryan Fredericks in that position and they swap sides, I think he's going to go a different way and actually go for goal. It was just almost too good to be true to really shoot, wasn't it? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? He can get it off target, and obviously he can either score or get a corner out of it, but you've really got to feel that he's got to be getting a shot away there. He did everything right, took it under control. You think he's going to head it across, but he's got to get the shot away for me, and that's a real missed opportunity for the Hammers.
He's never scored for West Ham, and maybe, I don't know, he's got no confidence in only on his left foot there because it looked like an opportunity and nothing came from it. But it's a free kick to West Ham now. Pretty blatant foul on Ryan Fredericks there. Looking at the bench, I mean, for West Ham, there's not a lot they could cheat. I mean, there's Ben Rama, there's Lanzini, there's Yarmolenko, who scored the winner last season, that 3-2 win that, well, Moyes said was the reason that West Ham stayed up in the end. So, you know, they tell you what they could do with him coming on again and doing that. Lanzini obviously scored that absolute wonder goal against Tottenham and then never been seen since. This is Lingard. He's tried to go for goal. And, I mean, fair play for the audacity, but the execution was poor, to say the least.
It's a real waste. I mean, you see the aerial ability that West Ham have got in their team, you know, in terms of Balbuena, Diop and Ogbonna. And for Lingard to try the real spectacular was something for me that just doesn't sit right. I mean, it was the real wrong option to do there.
It's one of those things where if it comes off, it's absolute genius, isn't it? And if it
absolutely
doesn't, you look like a fool, and he looks like a fool. This is now Soucek. back
But I think
into
that he would not be
Balbuena.
trying that if he wasn't in the good vein of form that he has been in,
Yes.
to be fair. I think obviously
Yeah.
if it was maybe his first sort of couple of games at West Ham where he's just feeling his way into the team and just trying to get his confidence back, he certainly puts that ball into the Chelsea penalty box.
Yeah, so in many ways, I guess it shows that he's got that self-belief back. He was really brave as well, Lingard. He admitted that he really struggled mentally over the last 12 months, which, you know, we need more people speaking out about mental health and stuff. So I've gained a lot of respect for Lingard for doing that. This is a lovely ball over towards Werner, but he reads it wrong. And away comes Balbuena, finds Lingard now, can stretch his legs. He bursts past one, he bursts past two. Can he find the right pass? Well, it looks like he's been held up well, but in the end, he does slip it into Fornals. Fornals into Soufal. Soufal back into Mark Noble. Now this is Lingard again. Picking up a pocket of space, finds Fornals. Fornals, Noble's made the off-the-ball run. Noble whips it, and it's Fredericks! And he smashed it straight at Christensen. And Lingard! Oh, what an incredible effort from Jesse Lingard that was. He sort of hooked an effort with the outside of his right boot, and for a moment it looked like it was destined for that far corner. But two decent opportunities for West Ham. They're really growing in this one now.
It's a really good ball across, isn't it, by Noble? All the Chelsea defenders just situate themselves in the box. He comes to Fredericks. He comes onto it really well. Good strike toward Mendy's goal, but a good block by, I think it was Mason Mount in there. Yes, it wasn't. He just comes to Lingard, and he just tries to catch Mendy out. It's a really good attempt by the Manchester United loanee, but he's really unlucky as it just whistles past the post, but a lot better from the Hammers. You have to say in the opening quarter of this second half, have been the better side.
That would have been a goal of the season contender from Jesse Lingard, just because of the angle he was at and the way he's hooked it over towards that far corner. But in the end, just wide. And the score remains at 1-0. But we're only 60 minutes in here. And well, I think Chelsea are going to have to do something to change the momentum, because it's all with the Hammers at the moment. That miss from Werner, looking, you know, it's almost like like, as I said, it's like woke West Ham up. They seem to be even more intent at this moment in time. This is now Noble into Soufal. In the end, it's going to be a Chelsea throw, so they get the ball back for now. As I said, you know, on the bench, West Ham do have options. Ben Rama's a player who was brilliant in the Championship. He hasn't quite maybe sparkled as much in the Premier League. He was actually linked with a move to Stamford Bridge as well. That's how good he was. This is now Mount. Mount, can he work the space for a shot? It's Mason Mount. It's blocked well. Just as he was pulling the trigger. But that's what Chelsea can do in an instant. Balbuena smashes it forward. Bowen does well. Fornals, this game's really woken up again. Lingard, one-on-one with Christensen. He's got the run of Fornals. He finds Pablo Fornals, who's lost the ball. And Lingard is rightly furious with his teammate because there was nothing wrong with the pass.
No, it wasn't. It was perfectly weighted, you felt. It's just Fornals is sort of getting in a bit of a tangle, wasn't it? And you almost felt if Fornals had got that under control and maybe looked up, because Bowen was gone as well. You didn't see enough of it in the first half, where those three attacking players, and Fornals, Lingard and Bowen, were all sort of in a line, making the runs together, whether it was on the left, through the middle, or on the right. Whoever had the ball, there was always the option just in that attack. And you didn't see it in the first half, but if Fornals had just got that under control, has got his bearings right, you would have maybe sensed they were going to get a chance on Edouard Mendy's goal, which is, I think, at the moment, served a charmed life for Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was definitely an opportunity. Just breakdown in communication. This is Thiago Silva clipping one over towards Azpilicueta. Fredericks does well. Might drop for Pulisic, but Soucek gets a huge leg in there. He's just everywhere, isn't he? You can't miss him on the field. This is Pulisic into Mount, who goes for goal. Oh, it's a great effort and save by Fabianski, who comes out and grabs it again. But Mason Mount with a dipping, vicious effort. And Fabianski does well in the end to deal with it.
Yeah, similar range to the one where Fabianski palmed it straight out to Timo Werner, but this time he goes from the other side, from the right, instead of the left, and he really wraps his foot around it, goes for the bend, and it obviously forced Fabianski to really outstretch himself and to really cover his post on his left-hand side. It's actually a decent save by Fabianski, but to be fair to him, he managed to sort of get up quickly and just stop the Chelsea player. I'm not sure it was. I think it might have been Pulisic, actually. I could be wrong. Trying to get in there on the rebound. So you've got to give a lot of credit to the Pole to get up quickly and sense that Pulisic was trying to get in for the rebound to make it 2.
Yeah, it was a incredible technique from Mount, because I've no idea how he even got it up and down in time from that range. So fair play to him. continues to cause problems. Ball smashed forward here. Werner doesn't beat Ogbonna in the air, but he causes some problems for Ogbonna, and Chelsea have the ball back. It's Kante. Finds Pulisic. Pulisic into Azpilicueta. Back to Christensen. And Thiago Silva. Finds Mount. Mount into Chilwell. Jorginho. Into Kante. Kante finds Pulisic again. Kante made a good off-the-ball run there, but not found. Pulisic instead wanders through, finds Kante, and Kante into Azpilicueta, who's onside. Back to Kante again. Chelsea trying to work this opportunity. Nice play. Azpilicueta just beaten to it by Ryan Fredericks. Good defending from the former Fulham man.
Yeah, you thought Azpilicueta had the better of Fredericks, didn't you, on the outside? Him and Kante just waiting for the opportunity just to arise where he could just get on the outside of Ryan Fredericks. We've obviously seen a lot in this game, as I was talking about earlier, a lot of underlapping runs from whether it's been Azpilicueta or Mount down that West Ham right-hand side defensively. But they went on the outside that time, but Fredericks stood for and made a good challenge.
Werner with a nice pass into Mount. Nice feet. Azpilicueta, Kante. Into Christensen, and all the way back to Thiago Silva, who finds Jorginho. Rudiger. This is Christensen once more. Finds Mason Mount, who, well, probably for the first time in this game, took a loose touch. Fornals. Lingard, lovely, delightful flick, and it's Soucek bursting away, and he's trying to slip it into Lingard, and it's good defending because Lingard was away.
Yeah, he went for Lingard, didn't he? But the one person in particular I felt really let himself down there was Jarrod Bowen. He's made a run through the middle. There was a lot of space on the right-hand side. If you went on in behind Rudiger and he timed his run to go toward the right, I think he would have been found there by Soucek. And obviously Lingard made the run ahead. Bowen just sort of made a run that was completely blocking Soucek. So for me, if he had a runner on the left and on the right, I think they would have been in on goal and one-on-one either. Well, in particular, Bowen in this instance.
Yeah, I totally see your point there with that. And that's a nice ball into Pulisic. Finds Kante. This is now Thiago Silva clipping one forward. Issa Diop comes bundling in. And it's going to be a Chelsea throw, I think. Looking like we're going to be seeing Said Benrahma and Manuel Lanzini. So West Ham making the changes. Ball in behind for Werner. He's got Pulisic in the box. He's looking to take on Ogbonna. Werner cuts inside, blasts it at goal. Fabianski gets down, makes the save. But that was some brilliant play by Timo Werner.
Yeah, he does very, very well, doesn't he? What made it really good at Leipzig was when he was doing things like this. He was coming from the outside to come in on his favoured right foot, but obviously his weaker left foot this time. He manages to get it on target with his left foot this time. He goes for power. He just puts it right in the corner, but Fabianski does really well just to come across and just palm it away. He's going to have to do very well to keep hold of that rather than spill it, given how much power Werner got a hold of the ball from.
I mean, he made Ogbonna look like he was drowning in treacle there because he just quick feet and he was away. And that's the weird thing with Werner. I mean, he's missed that absolute sitter earlier on and then he's just come up with that lovely individual piece of play. This is now Rudiger, who just hammers one forward in the direction of Mason Mount. Headed away by Diop. Brought down well by Jorginho. Slips it into Werner. Good tackle by Diop, though. Well, Werner stayed down, but there was certainly no foul, so West Ham can carry on. Balbuena in behind for Bowen. Bowen got Thiago Silva with him. And now the offside flag goes up against Jarrod Bowen. Why did they wait so long for the offside there? I mean, practically in a second phase of play.
I mean, I'm not actually too sure sort of what the thought process is. I mean, it's almost felt like an unnecessary change that has almost not needed to be brought in because you just feel like you've got every chance and you've got players streaming forward. And then as soon as Bowen's just sort of stopped and gone back away from the goal, Shan Masielis has just decided to put a flag up, which I find baffling. And not just her in this instance, but linesmen and lineswomen in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and off goes Pablo Fornals. No real surprise, just hasn't really happened for the Spaniard. And looks like Mark Noble's coming off as well. So very attacking changes from David Moyes. We've now got Said Benrahma and Manuel Lanzini on the pitch. And as I said, 1 goal this season for Lanzini, that absolute wonder goal in that 3-3 draw against Tottenham. And Benrahma's failed to score actually now in his first 24 Premier League appearances for West Ham. So what a time this would be to get your first goal for the Hammers.
It'll be interesting to
Mendy.
see now what David Moyes does from this. Sorry, Jack.
No, it's all right.
It's going to be quite interesting. It almost seems Benrahma might be just sort of going down the middle, and then maybe he's just sort of had Lanzini just sort of playing as a central midfielder. So, you know, in terms of him being a little bit more defensive than what we're usually accustomed to seeing him be.
Yeah, I think Moyes is sacrificing maybe that defensive solidity you get with Noble for the creativity of Lanzini, who probably should have found Lingard there, but he does find Lingard now. Coming up to 6 years with the Hammers now, Manuel Lanzini.
And I think it
loan.
just shows as well that with Declan Rice being injured, it really means that their midfield department are very scarce. I mean, you've got Connor Coventry and obviously Ben Johnson can fill a role in there, but obviously it's 2 youngsters in the academy ranks have almost had to come on the bench just to fill the subs bench. So that is where I think that they maybe do lack that little bit of option. And obviously with Noble going off, it really means that David Moyes has got to scratch his head and almost really tinker with the team and obviously just put Lanzini in there, which isn't a bad thing because as you rightly said, it does mean that they're going to be focusing and emphasising on attacking even more.
This is Lanzini, finds Soufal. Soufal into fellow countryman Souček. This is now Lingard. Not the best pass by Lingard. Oh, lovely touch by Fredericks. Can he get there ahead of Christensen? No, he can't. Good defending by the Dane. But nice feet by Ryan Fredericks there. I think he's probably putting himself forward for a more regular role in the rest of the season. I think he's been quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, he's grew into the game, hasn't he, Ryan Fredericks? I thought he was struggling a little bit defensively, but in terms of going forward, I think he's been a real good outlet for West Ham. And he might not have been able to see it, given they haven't really created that much, but he's made really good runs, and he has tried to put a lot more crosses in. And in fact, actually, Soufal's been doing that a little bit more in this second half as well.
Benrahma, nice feet, finds Lanzini. Lanzini into Jesse Lingard. There's a lot of creativity on the pitch now for West Ham. This is Fredericks. Can he get a cross in? Finds Lanzini, and Azpilicueta just uses all of that 421 Chelsea appearances experience that he has to just shield the ball, and Mendy picks it up.
Yeah, right. Ryan Fredericks is getting really frustrated playing against Azpilicueta, isn't he? I mean, I talked about it in the first half. Azpilicueta's reading of the game and positioning is absolutely superb. He might be in his 30s now, but he is someone who just reads the game so well and just knows exactly where he needs to be on the pitch to stop his man from going on the outside of him or on the inside of him. He really is a really, really good player. He just seems to get better with age, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think it was when Antonio Conte came in. That was when he went to another level, if you know what I mean. He was always good, but then he went to another level. This is Lanzini into Lingard. Back to Jesse Lingard. He has actually scored in 5 consecutive games now for West Ham. So, well, at least 1 goal, if you know what I mean. Scored 5 in 5 consecutive games with at least 1 goal. So, it just shows you how good he's been since he signed for the Hammers. This is Souček. Lanzini. Back into Ogbonna now. Bonner finds Diop. 72 minutes gone here. Still West Ham United 0, Chelsea 1. This is not going to end West Ham's Champions League hopes, far from it, but certainly makes it a little bit more difficult. Lingard trying to work that opportunity. Finds Jorginho. And in the end, it's going to be a foul given against West Ham. Jorginho, I think, that time fouled. And Chelsea going to make change. Pulisic for the FA Cup semi-final winner, Hakim Ziyech. Really struggle in the Premier League, Ziyech, to be honest. 1 goal this season. Yeah, 1 goal this season. And he's not scored or provided an assist. Well, he's not scored since October, and he's not provided an assist since November. So it's not happening for the Moroccan. Yeah,
he's been at the forefront, really, of the rotation under Tuchel. He can't seem to just get a good run of games. And that was actually the same, incidentally, under Frank Lampard. It seems to me it's very hard to find his best position, whether it's down the middle or on the right-hand side, where he often just likes to hog the touchline and just come inside and just play balls quickly. And, I mean, you can see the talent that's there. I mean, in glimpses. I thought he played really well last week in the FA Cup semi-final. Really good runs. You know, if you looked at his sort of heat map and sort of runs he was making them all over the pitch, wasn't he? And he is a player very hard to just keep your eyes on the entire time from a defensive point of view. But, yeah, he's certainly got a little bit more to give this season for Chelsea. And I think next season you'll be hoping in his second season, now he get kind of adjusted to English football and life in the world's hardest league. You kind of expect him to go up another level and sort of give back that price tag in which they paid sort of just over 40 million for him, I believe.
Balbuena finds Jared Bowen. Yeah, I mean, you could say the same for a lot of Chelsea sign. I think when they made the signings, I was certainly expecting them to have a better season than they did initially, with the likes of Havertz, Werner, Ziyech. It just sort of hasn't happened. But under Tuchel, it does look like they're still going to end up having a good season. So this is Ziyech finds Kante. Ziyech for Ajax, especially in that 2018-19 season, was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. He was absolutely unplayable, wasn't he? I mean, you had that Ajax team where obviously a lot of players really stood out. I mean, you had Tagliafico at left back, you had Donny van der Beek, of course. Kind of not had the same impact as many were expecting him to have at Manchester United. But when you saw a player like Ziyech, he was just that one. He was just that difference, wasn't he? He was just someone who just thought so far ahead of the game so quickly. His passing, he doesn't tend to break sweat a lot, and a lot of people, you got to keep your eyes on him at all times just to really see what player he sort of is and how influential he is. But he really is a talented player in his day, and as you rightly said, that sort of era of 2 years ago, in which Ajax was so close to the Champions League final, he was their real go-to man for me and the real standout in that exciting side as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it would be nice to see him at least attempt to hit those levels next season after he has adjusted. But I mean, Chelsea have just a squad full of wonderful depth and talent that it's kind of under Tuchel next season. It's pretty scary to think what they could achieve, really. So we'll have to see what the likes of Havertz, Werner, and Ziyech do next season. At the moment, though, Chelsea doing a good job of seeing this one out. Certainly, the last 5 minutes or so, they've killed a bit of West Ham's momentum. This is now Jorginho. Finds back to Chilwell. Back to Rudiger. And now along to Christensen. Aspilicueta. Kante finds Werner. Tries to lay it through to Ziyech, but Balbuena gets there. Now, what can West Ham do? Diop being instructed to play the ball forward by David Moyes. Fredericks on this throw here. Finds Jesse Lingard. Kante gets in there. Good tackle. Werner into Kante again. This is Ziyech. And now Chelsea are away here. It's Werner. Oh, he's took a bad touch that's forced him wide. Still looking to take on Diop. And then he's hit a weird ball over towards Chilwell. This is Ziyech into Aspilicueta now. Ziyech again. Looking to work the opportunity. And West Ham could come away with it. Lingard into Soucek. Soucek finds Soufal.
Well played.
Soufal hits it, and Werner's in behind now. It's Timo Werner. And he's cut back, and he's just left the ball behind as he's cut back. And Balbuena smashes it away. I don't know what happened to Timo Werner there, but he was played in behind. He took a touch that forced him wide. Chilwell, meanwhile, is down. Looks in agony, actually, does Ben Chilwell. I think he was caught late by Balbuena as he was clearing the ball. Let's have a look here. Yeah, he stood on him as he's cleared the ball. It's a nasty one for Ben Chilwell.
That's nasty.
No blame attached to Balbuena at all. But
No, I mean, he doesn't know
he
a
can't
lot
get his
about it,
leg
does
out.
he? I mean,
He can't get his leg out the way there.
no.
He's just cleared the ball. They're looking at it for VAR.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you really do have to say that if this has been given as a red card, then you've got to say something's going wrong. He cleared the ball away. He can't do anything to get out of the way, as you rightly pointed out. Chilwell's got in there, trying to win it 50-50. If he does give a red card for this, you've got to say, where does VAR go from here?
But they're looking at it so much. What can he do about that? He's cleared the ball.
He can't do anything about it. I mean, we've all played football where, a player comes across you, and Chilwell has sort of slowed down, but he is sort of leaning his body into it. There is absolutely nothing Balbuena can do. And if he gets sent off for this, he is ruining a real good, contest in which the last 10 minutes will be very interesting.
Yeah, VAR, another game by rumour. They're looking at it so much that you just feel that they're going to come to the conclusion that they're going to send him off because they look at it for so much. Well, Kavanagh's going to have a look.
I think he's gone.
But
I think he's going. I think.
Well, if he's got any common sense, he'll realise this is not a red card.
Well, we saw. I think it was Chris Kavanagh for the Tottenham Manchester United game that we covered on Football Commentary Live, and he obviously gave the hand for McTominay on Son. It's a lot different to this, of course, and that was a little bit less contact. But this, he cannot send him off for that. He cannot do that. If you simply clear the ball away in the corner and you do that, you don't get penalised for it. Chelsea are not in an offensive position in any way. It doesn't matter where you're on the pitch. He cannot give that as a red card. I don't even think it's a booking, to be honest.
No Chelsea players even appealed for anything because they know it's just an incident that happens in football. What's he going to do? No. He's actually sent him off. Fabian Balbuena has been sent off for clearing the ball and his foot has landed on Ben Chilwell, and Fabian Balbuena has been sent off for that. VAR,
it's a shame.
The referee are an absolute disgrace. That is a disgusting decision.
He's got every right to be angry. And obviously, he knows in his mind that he can't vent his frustration too much because he'll have a fine coming his way. But it means he's got to reshuffle it. And to be honest now, it's probably going to ruin this game because this was a contest you'd expect the last 10 minutes where both sides would really give it their all. Fabian Balbuena can count himself so unlucky for a red card in which he really can't do a lot about. And I mean, it just goes to show that, yes, we've seen a lot of change in football. And yes, there is a lot of things that do cross a fine line. But if that's been given as a red card, you really do have to say that you're not going to be able to even touch the player at this rate. You're almost going to just have to do things so much more cleanly. And it's just going to be even more sanitized. This VAR really sometimes can just get things so badly wrong. And it's there to help referees. It's just creating disruption for me in some instances like this.
I mean, in my opinion, it's not VAR's the problem. It's how bad our referees are. Because let's be honest, the Bundesliga have VAR. And the Bundesliga have had VAR for a lot longer than England have. And they don't have any controversial decisions usually. Because they use it properly. And it's actually good referees. Anyway, we're back into it. Chilwell. Jorginho with the header forward. Well, West Ham, if they get anything from this game now, it'd be very impressive. But I have to say, absolutely awful decision from Chris Kavanagh. How many times have we said that this season from Premier League referees?
I think sounds like a broken record, doesn't it? It's just
and Ben Johnson's going to be coming on for West Ham for Ryan Fredericks.
I think he'll be playing a 4 now, but it's just going to leave. It's just going to mean that West Ham really can throw the juggler and really go full throttle at Chelsea now, but getting a point. It's just pretty much trying to keep it at 1-0, and it's so hard to manage when you're 1-0 down with 10 men, isn't it?
Ball floated into the back post. Christensen knocks it down for Ziyech, who hits it, doesn't get it clean. Oh, what touch that is. And then he's hammered it miles over the bar. I mean, if he'd hammered that into the goal, that would have been something special, but nothing comes from it in the end. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, we're having a fan-led review of football ownership. We need a fan-led review of refereeing in this country and the standard of refereeing in this country because it is dreadful. I don't know who these referees are. We should bring in foreign referees if we have to because it gets worse. It really does get worse. Fabianski drills it forward. West Ham have about 6 minutes plus stoppage time to get something from this one. Flicked on by Kante. This is now Mason Mount carrying the ball forward. Werner looks like he's offside, but in the end he finds Chilwell anyway. Chilwell sends it into the box, headed away by Diop. Picked up by Mount. Bowen now fouls Mason Mount. And Chris Kavanagh is given everything Chelsea's way now. I mean, that was a foul, but I can imagine the West Ham players will be feeling that everything's going against them now.
Just sort of going back to the referee discussion, I mean, it is quite interesting to see that you don't see that the English referees are very high on the UEFA list or the FIFA list. I mean, obviously, we've had Howard Webb, but ever since then, it's almost just the standard of refereeing. As we were talking about off-air before this game, it's just seemingly just going in the wrong direction. And it's really alarming how off the track it is going in terms of it getting badly wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, looks like we're going to be seeing Reece James come on as Chelsea look to see it out for them. It's going to be his 75th Premier League appearance when he comes on. Mount hits it into the wall. Werner, is he onside? Looks like he is. Plays it into Chilwell. Back to Mount again. And Chelsea will be looking to just sort of kill this one off. But again, we can't talk about the football, unfortunately. We've got to talk about VAR, which is a shame because up to that point, it was actually a good game between two really good teams.
It was, and you were just thinking that last 10 minutes, maybe West Ham were just going to, as I might be repeating myself a little bit here, but they were really going to go for it, you felt. And even if they left space and conceded a second, it wouldn't have mattered if they had put their eggs in their basket of trying to get an equaliser.
Yeah, and well, I think that's Aspilicueta coming off for Reece James. Job done from Aspilicueta. Keeping him, well, I would assume he's keeping him for the Real Madrid game. Yeah, as Jorginho takes the captain's armband.
Yeah, I think that's a wise decision. I mean, obviously, Aspilicueta. I have to say it is a wise decision, but I'm quite surprised. Maybe he would have slotted him in and took Christensen off to protect him. He's on a booking. But obviously, there's something going on there, I think, with David Moyes.
Oh, Moyes is not happy. Moyes is not happy with something there. Looks like Tammy Abraham's coming on as well. Chelsea's now joint top Premier League goal scorer with Timo Werner, Tammy Abraham. Can't get a game. Hakim Ziyech.
Well, he's had a bad injury, hasn't he? I think he had an ankle injury that meant he missed quite a proportion of the season. But I think with Chelsea under Tuchel, they've almost adopted the pace rather than the sort of physicality. But one thing that really stands in Abraham's favour is he is a typical big striker, but then he also, to an extent, isn't, because he's somebody who does have a little bit of pace, but his awareness to get in that right position as a striker is what, for me, really makes him stand out.
Well, he's been heavily linked with West Ham in the summer, and I think, not gonna lie, I think if West Ham get into Europe, he'd be an absolutely ideal signing for them. And of course, Timo Werner, so his goal looks like it is going to be the winner. He should have at least had one more. But on comes Tammy Abraham now. Can he do anything in sort of the last 3 minutes plus stoppage time to prove Tuchel maybe that he deserves a chance? Because Tuchel did say that he's been expecting more from Abraham. This is Ziyech. Lofted ball in the direction of Abraham, who brings it down, plays it back to Mount. This is Chilwell. And it's hammered by Ziyech. Well wide in the end, but it's an ambitious effort from the Moroccan. Comes running onto it. It was a nice layoff by Chilwell. And he's absolutely put his foot through it. But in the end, not on target.
Yeah, it was nicely laid into him, wasn't it, from Ben Chilwell? It almost just came right out of the blue. I didn't actually think Ziyech was going to shoot at first, but he obviously went against what I was thinking and, tried to just get that on target. But the moment it sort of left his foot, you knew it was going to go well wide of Fabianski's goal.
Ball played forward by Fabianski. Souček now playing as a sort of auxiliary striker. This is now Ziyech into Rudiger. West Ham pushing high up the field. And not barely. I mean, obviously the red card's going to affect that, but Lanzini and Benrahma have not really touched the ball since they've come on. Those subs haven't quite worked as of yet. Going to be a throw to the Blues. It's Reece James. We're on the 88th minute here. It's still West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. Mason Mount finds Kante. Takes a bit loose touch and Ogbonna forces it back in the direction of his goalkeeper, who drives it in towards Jared Bowen, and Rudiger wins the header. West Ham have a throw just on the halfway line now on that right-hand side.
It's just so hard to deal with if you're David Moyes, isn't it? What do you actually do? He's already depleted enough as it is, so his game plan's already taken a bit of a battering, and it's not ideal given, the injury situation as the sort of camera on the screen sort of pans to Declan Rice. But in this game in particular, how he manages it, he could easily put Souček up the pitch, playing as almost a number 9, as a 10, just almost getting a flick on balls, but he's got to be reserved because he knows that Chelsea's just going to be there on the break, so he's somehow just got to find a balance, even though his side are 1-0 down and a man light as well.
Johnson going on a run. He's done really well to keep a hold of the ball there as young Ben Johnson. He's found Ben Rama, and there's 2 West Ham players in the box, and Ben Rama's shown some lovely feet, and he whips it in, and it doesn't quite reach Jesse Lingard. And Soufal then keeps it alive for West Ham. That was some nice feet from Ben Rama, exactly what he showed when he was with Brentford. Be interested to see how much stoppage time there is. Fabianski, forward, going to be comfortably dealt with by Andreas Christensen to Edouard Mendy. And I guess that's one thing West Ham haven't done. Mendy's not really had much to do, really. So I guess that's one thing you could say West Ham could have done a bit better, but just feel that the game is unfortunately been ruined by another horrific VAR and refereeing decision.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, you're a follower of a team in the Premier League, and it is hard. I mean, as a neutral, just to see decisions like that in a game that means so much. 2 sides, it's sort of essentially 4th against 5th in the race for the Champions League. So much on it. You just want, 11 players on the pitch. You want it to be a real good contest, and it was up until 80 minutes, until obviously Chris Kavanagh decided to make it that he was going to be centre stage and give that red card, and it just really must grind your gears as a Premier League fan, and obviously a fan of West Ham, that you've got a real, absolute nonsensical red card decision really go against you there.
Yeah, I'm going to have 5 minutes added on here. Can West Ham create maybe just one more opportunity? You always feel that they might get one more chance, although looks like it can be Chelsea. What's Ziyech going to do? He's going to go in the corner? No, he's not. He's taking on Ogbonna. Holds it up, plays it back to Reece James, who clips one into Mason Mount. Mount lines up the effort, shoots again. Mason Mount has not been afraid to have shots this afternoon.
He just gets in that little position once again. He's just almost found that area. He's almost made it his own, hasn't he? He's almost just planted his flag there the entire time when he's been in the attacking area. And he's very much like the player he idolised, didn't he, in Frank Lampard. He just loved every opportunity to get the ball into him. He was always thinking about shooting at goal. And obviously the 2 attempts he had forced Fabianski into saves, but that one there, West Ham got out quickly to block it and force a corner.
You can tell why managers love him. He just is so intelligent, constantly finds space. Seems to always make the right decision as well. Abraham's going to hold it up in the corner now. Souček has come flying over the top of him. And, I thought Ziyech was in there, but Diop has a chance to drive forward with the ball now. Diop finds Jared Bowen. He's got Rudiger at his back. Finds Soufal. Launch forward into Bowen again. Bowen keeps it in. Jorginho and Chilwell managed to force it out. Rudiger's gone down injured. He's going to have to get back because West Ham are not going to be putting the ball out of play for him. And rightly so. This is Lanzini. And Lanzini he's managed to find Bowen in the end. Bowen into Ben Rama. He's got Ben Johnson, and Ben Rama goes for a goal from about 30 yards out. And I mean, it's one of those ones where if it flies into the top corner, fair play, but it's a 1 in 100 effort, that, isn't it, really?
And well, you saw him do that a lot with Brentford, didn't he? He scored some absolutely spectacular goals for the Bees in the Championships. They were so close to promotion to the Premier League. But in the 92nd minute, 2 minutes into stoppage time, you don't need to be doing that. You've got the bodies in the box. All it takes is just one little clip ball, and you've got a chance of a player flicking it on, even getting a penalty. He's just got to use his brain a little bit more, Ben Rama, a little bit more smarter there. As it was naive to even think, for me, that around about 25 yards, he could really get that beyond Mendy, and the technique was all wrong there, and the decision making was very, very poor from him.
Well, looking at what just happened there, I feel that Rudiger just got caught late by clearance from Soufal. So by what Kavanagh did before, Soufal should be getting sent off now. Anyway, Edouard Mendy's gone in the book. VR didn't even look at that one. It was the same thing. Souček wins the header. Jorginho smashed away by Rudiger up towards Tammy Abraham, who gives a little shove. That's what you want to see from Abraham. Issa Diop thumps it forward in the direction of Lingard, and well, it's offside given against the Hammers, and they run out of time. And Chelsea has taken a big step into the top 4. But we all know what the talking point's going to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's overshadowed what was a good game, isn't it? You're absolutely right. VAR is going to be stealing the back page headlines once again, and it's going to cause even more debate.
Thiago Silva clips it forward, headed away by Soufal, brought down by Lanzini. Lanzini finds Souček. Kante does just enough, but I think he's fouled, and it's going to be a yellow card. Now Chris Kavanagh's been card happy as the game approaches the end of the game. Nears its conclusion.
I think he was right to give a booking there. Kante had a hold of Souček's shirt. He managed to just wriggle himself out of it there, but Conte just was intent on trying to stop Souček there and stop West Ham, trying to get a chance on goal at Mendy.
And Lanzini now. This is the last chance for West Ham, you'd think. It's not the best ball by Lanzini. It's over towards Benrahma rather than Souček. This is Lingard. Back into Lanzini. Now Diop needs to do something with Ben Johnson, sorry. And he's clipped one in towards Benrahma, but Reece James collects it. And Chelsea have a breakaway through N'Golo Kante.
Oh,
Kante is going all the way here. He's got Ziyech with him. Is he going to find him?
No.
And he's tried to light it over towards Ziyech, who's absolutely furious. And I mean, fair enough, really. Fabianski drills it forward. Rudiger with a big, strong header. Picked up by Mason Mount now, who's got all the time in the world. West Ham are not even really tracking him. They know if the game's up, probably. Oh, Mount, lovely feet, gliding past one. Can he get his goal? Mason Mount still going. Clips it over to Abraham, who heads it over. He just couldn't quite get over it, Tammy Abraham. And that was the chance to seal it, but not on this occasion.
What a talent Mount is. He just makes, as I said, the nothing look seemingly possible, doesn't he? He just wriggles away from it, and he just stood his cross up a little bit too high for Tammy Abraham. He was just on the goal line, and you think sometimes at those occasions it's a sitter, but he really couldn't do a lot there as he's really overstretched and just trying to get that on goal.
And there is the full-time whistle. So Chelsea keep yet another clean sheet. It's Timo Werner's 6th Premier League goal of the season that gets them the win, that moves them 4 points clear now of 6th place Liverpool and 3 points clear of West Ham. David Moyes not interested in speaking to Craig Kavanagh there, and I don't really blame him because it was one of the worst referee decisions I think I've seen this season, that unfortunately is going to be the talking point of the game. Fabian Balbuena's red card that, well, extinguished the game as a contest. But before that, it was 80 minutes of tension, exciting football from both sides, chances. But unfortunately, VAR once again ruins it. Balbuena's red card. I would assume West Ham are going to appeal it because it's absolute nonsense. But final score here at the London Stadium is West Ham United 0, Chelsea 1.
Thank you very much, Matt and Jack, for excellent coverage of the West Ham versus Chelsea game this evening. We're going to quickly jump across to have a quick word with Matt Iles, the summariser for the game today. And Matt, just a quick one with you, my friend. Who was your today man of the match, which is going to be sponsored by Commentary Services?
Easy decision for me, Mason Mount. I thought he was excellent again. He didn't get an assist or he didn't get a goal, and that's a very uncommon thing to say about a player like that. But what a player he is. I mean, there was a lot of talk that, managers like Lampard and Southgate for club and country are only playing him because he plays at a top 4 club. But you can see in the last few weeks, and I think Jack Cunningham alluded to it on commentary. I think I said it 2 weeks ago with you, Russ, when we watched the Crystal Palace game. He just seemingly gets better and better every time you watch him. The confidence that is flowing through that man's veins is absolutely ridiculous. Unbelievable player, technically superb, never panics, never freezes. It is a joy to watch players sometimes. You just look like they're just playing a game of football with their mates out in the street or in the park. And, he was a standout player for me for Chelsea, even though by his own admissions, he probably didn't have the best of games. And that is saying something, given that he usually gets assists or he usually gets in a goal, doesn't he?
He does, yes, Martin. I've just got a tweet here in from Liam Cooper, and I'm just going to put a comment up which I made a few moments ago when the incident happened. If Cooper v Man City is a red card for winning the ball and then catching Jesus, then that one tonight for me is also a red card going by the letter of the law. And then the player mentioned Liam Cooper there. He says, "I'll tell you what, scrap tackling because every week something is getting slowed down to make it look 100% worse. Chilwell has the right to go down as I just saw one, but that's it. Red card, never in a million years." And that's what Leeds captain Liam Cooper has had to say. And Matt, judging on what I said there in the comments, which I just put back up on the screen, if
Yeah.
Cooper against Messi is a red card for the ball and catching Jesus, that's a red card for me. And then judging what Cooper's just said there, what do you make to Liam Cooper's comments there on that decision there tonight?
Well, he's absolutely right. I mean, I almost tried to say the same thing on commentary. You know, it is going to get to the stage now in football where you're literally not going to be able to tackle. It is almost going to be a feel like when you play touch rugby when you're sort of grown up, in which you sort of touch a man and then you just almost got to stop play. It's just getting even more cleaner. It's even getting more sanitized. You can't help following through. You know, I did actually think in the back of my mind about the Cooper incident at Manchester City a few weeks ago. Very, you know, again, he wins the ball first. But obviously, I think that red card was based on how high it was. You look at that. Yes, Balbuena's planted his foot into the back of the thigh of Ben Chilwell, the calf of Ben Chilwell. But how on earth can you say he can stop himself there with the way he's almost cleared the ball? He's gone right in there. Chilwell's leaning in. He's not going in there full throttle, admittedly. But Chris Kavanagh has got to look back at that tonight and think he's done something wrong. And obviously, he's not been shy of controversy himself, given what he did at the Tottenham Manchester United game, 13 days ago, in which of course he didn't allow McTominay, he didn't allow Cavani's goal, in which McTominay caught Son in the face. And it is, as Jack rightly said, every single week something is being given in the Premier League for something that you really feel is just getting harsh. I just feel like at times these referees just get bored. They just almost think, I just got to give a red card, and it ruins good games like that. Good contests in which he's got so much to play for, so much riding on it. And in the end, the last 10 minutes were just pretty much a non-spectacle for me. But yeah, Liam Cooper's comments, I think he is right. He is starting to hit the nail on the head. And I just feel like as well with referees, I might be going a little bit off on a tangent here, but they're overusing VAR. And it is almost just, they almost feel like they need to use it because it's there. We see in the Bundesliga, we see in European competitions, they use it when they really need to use it, and they use it at the right times. I think in England, there is still that concept of they're overusing it, and I can seriously see why fans, managers, and pundits who regularly watch the Premier League, like ourselves on Football Commentary, I get so frustrated by it.
Yes, I completely agree with you there, Matt, as well. In the Scottish Cup, the score I mentioned earlier is now 2-2 between Hibernian and Motherwell. They're in the final few minutes of extra time. Doige and Irvine with the goals for Hibernian before Lammy and Watt pulled it back to 2-2. Going to extra time, still 2-2 there, coming up towards the closing stages of that match. In the Bundesliga game, which kicked in the National League game, which kicked off at the 10 minutes before this, it finished Eastleigh 1, Sutton United 0. With that scoreline in the Bundesliga, the match which kicked off same time as this one, Bayer Leverkusen beat Eintracht Frankfurt by 3-1 in that game. Parma v Crotone, that finished 4-3 to Crotone with a 6.5 minute penalty securing the win there. Parma had initially come back from 3-1 down to get back to 3-all in that game. PSV are currently beating Groningen by a goal to 0, while Sport Rotterdam are 2-0 up against VVV Venlo. That's coming up towards the closing stages of that game. Don't forget, we've got some brilliant coverage coming up on Football Commentary Live in the next day or two. We've got the first game tomorrow between Leeds United and Manchester United. Matt House, and I think he's on commentary for that one. I'm not sure. I think John Kane may be joining in for that one. We'll get confirmation later on our social media platforms. Then hopefully we'll have the coverage of the Carabao Cup final later on that afternoon as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed our coverage today. Just going to fetch in Jack as well. And Jack, you heard me mention there the comments from Liam Cooper and my thoughts on the red card. In your opinion, Jack, do you agree with what Liam Cooper's had to say there? You've heard from my way his thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, Andros Townsend's just tweeted as well, said the game's gone. I mean, the thing is, what needs to happen is the players need to do what they did against the ESL, come out, tweet about it, speak about it, and we might actually get some change because VR is genuinely not the problem. You look at the Bundesliga, it's absolutely fine. These idiots who are using it here, they're the problem. So we need to get rid of them, or they need to be trained properly, or something, because VR is exposing how bad our referees are. They consistently, how is that a red card? He's cleared the ball and his foot's landed on Chilwell. No one in a blue shirt's even appealing for a red card because there's nothing for it. So it's absolutely ridiculous. It was a good game up until that point, but after that, it was genuinely hard to I don't know, concentrate and focus on it because the game had been ruined by a horrible decision once again.
It has indeed, Jack. And thank you for listening to the coverage today. To the people that have listened out there, West Ham United have lost by a goal to Notre Dame, but that's not the story. Bob Werner's red card is going to be the back page headlines. Ibernian v Motherwell has gone to penalties. Gogic sent off in the second minute of added on time in extra time. Stay locked to the websites or wherever you follow your football to find out the result of that one. We're finishing off right now. So stay tuned for more great coverage here on Football Commentary Live. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Tomorrow for the Leeds Manchester United game. And then we'll have some more. And then hopefully we'll get the League Cup final coverage for you as well. But until next time, thank you very much for listening on Football Commentary Live. From myself, Russ, from Jack, and from Matt. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.